Tuesday. It's Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you back in studio today. You can view the show on the stream. That'll be up in just a second as well. Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, you name it. No statues today, no figurines or anything. The actual actual thing. The actual thing here. All three of us on video.
We do appreciate, I'm assuming some of it is a community-based thing or just how you've chosen to consume the content. The people who stick with us over on the video side of things, even when it's 2 3D printed figurines of us, you know? We need one of Drew just in case all three of us are gone sometime.
We actually should get one printed. Although
you want a 3D figurine of yourself, Drew?
The rule with that, though, Drew, there's a rule.
I get to hold on to it for 1 year?
I mean, actually, it'd be fitting. You know what? I was going to say you can't do this, but you know what? You should. Just lean in all the way. You should wear a Joe Burrow jersey, and then your statue's permanently Joe Burrow.
Oh, yeah, of course. If I'm going to get it done, I'm going to wear the Joe Burrow jersey. Yeah. Absolutely.
Or Andy Dalton, the true greatest quarterback.
I do have an AJ Green jersey. I could have the AJ Green jersey on while I do it.
It's an all-timer. That's a guy that I think Bengals fans will like forever, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I'm just trying to think about, like, what are the players that people like defend to their grave in Cincinnati fandom? Is AJ Green one of them?
I would say AJ Green.
Chad Johnson,
they would defend. Ocho for sure. I used to have a Corey Dillon jersey. I don't think we defend Corey Dillon like that, but I used to have a Corey Dillon.
You had a Corey Dillon jersey?
Yeah, number 28.
Look, I mean, people have had all kinds of random jerseys.
I was at the game on Sunday, Chiefs Bills. The random jersey that I saw, you know how you can always, if you're up in the press box, you look down, you've seen it, sure. Cody. You can tell like very easily, and you're looking around because you're killing time before you're like, what is? And the jersey I spotted that was not like old, but just what are you here for? Someone was wearing an Arizona Cardinals Kurt Warner jersey. I'm like, what's this backstory here?
Why are you at this game?
What's the backstory? It's Chiefs Bills.
This isn't like a game in London where it's just like, wear any jersey that you've ever seen before. You're at a Chiefs game. Why are you wearing a Kurt Warner jersey? The last time I was at a Chiefs game, the best Chiefs jersey I saw was Peyton Hillis.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, you spent your hard-earned American dollars on that,
cover Peyton Hillis.
Okay. Look, I'm not here to judge. You still got the Peyton Hillis jersey floating around? Kudos. That's the kind of thing that we raise money for the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum when it comes around, you know?
That is very... Very true. Someone saying that. Did you guys see the Vikings jersey at the Chiefs game on TV? I did not. I didn't
either. Which player was it?
Yeah. Maybe at least if it was Randy Moss, I at least can respect, respect supporting Randy Moss. That's one thing. Anyway, you guys can hit us up on the J Southland Tow Service text line 913-586-7965. Coming up in a half hour, we'll be joined by Josh Vernier, our Royals insider. Royals rally is this Saturday. That's coming up. Spring training right around the corner. The Royals also made a move yesterday, adding some more depth and I think a nice piece to the bullpen. So we'll get his perspective on that. And
good addition.
Is there another move on the way? I think that's what everybody's wondering, especially now that they added another bullpen arm. Like, okay.
They ask about corner outfielder.
Are they more willing? Is there somebody in the bullpen currently or a pitcher they're willing to move? They already moved Brady Singer. Is there another pitcher they're willing to move to help the corner outfielder? We'll get Vern's perspective if he thinks they're done or not. We know their payroll is now exceeded, it looks like. It's backloaded on Estevez or whatever, but it looks like the payroll will be above last year's. I know that was a complaint from a lot of people on at least social media prior to that move that they had yesterday. So a lot to get into with Vern. But we do start talking about the Chiefs, and one of the key matchups will once again be the offensive line. And we'll hit on this next week and talk to some people in Philly and how they see it. But where's your confidence level right now on this offensive line unit? Because against the Texans, when it was Will Anderson and Neil Hunter, it was a struggle at times on the left side. Against the Buffalo Bills, Joe Thuney played terrific. Mike Caliendo was at times...
35 snaps, 0 pressures for Thuney in the last game.
He was terrific. Caliendo had the one play in particular that stood out. Where
he did get dog walked on that one. That was one was pretty bad.
That was one.
That snap was not great.
Overall, though, I thought the O-line protected. I also think in the first 15 scripted plays was pretty evident. They got Mahomes out and moving from the... Go through the first 15 plays. Anytime they dropped back, Mahomes was on the move. And by design. Not like running for his life, but by design, they wanted to get him out and moving. And that was smart. It's another reason why they were able to settle in.
Yeah, I think so. And I guess the simple way is like someone asked me yesterday, it's like, hey, are you worried about the offensive line anymore? We're good? I was like, good. Okay, let's cool it a little. Like, and I know that sounds like not even that strong a language. Am I currently like, quaking in fear in the corner over the offensive line anymore? No. There were times this year to be genuinely worried that like Mahomes was going to get hurt back there based on the amount of offensive line protection he was getting, how often he was getting hit, how consistently he was getting hit hard in the pocket, and how quick it was happening. they've settled in from that, where I don't think the man's life is at stake anymore back there. But I'd also be lying to you if I just said, like, it didn't worry me a little. I'm just done past the point of panic. Panic is gone. Joe Thuney has stabilized the left tackle position to the point that this team is not going to get just massacred back there, and there's no hope of any kind of protection. Caliendo is now the big question mark, which is, can he just hold up enough at left guard between an all-pro left guard who's playing left tackle and an all-pro center who is playing his natural position? Things actually should be kind of easy for Caliendo, all things considered. I know Thuney's playing out of position, but that man's not going to mess anything up, and Creed Humphrey was an all-pro. So, like, your job actually shouldn't be that bad if you're Caliendo, but I'm not here just to tell you, like, no problems here. Offensive line's totally fine. Probably will block all their guys all the time.
No,
like,
I feel good about it, though. I really do. It was
best you felt all year?
Ooh. Probably.
I mean,
honestly,
other than week one when you're like, Kingsley's the dude. And
yeah.
we were all wrong.
I would say, how could I? Yeah, I think the answer to that is probably yes, if we're being honest about the situation. I think it's not so much about the tackles in this game, though, Cody. I think it's Caliendo and Trey Smith. And Trey Smith's been terrific, but Caliendo and Trey Smith, the interior, because that's where the strength is for the Eagles on their line, interior. And the reason why maybe I'm more confident, I'm trying to not look too far back because 2 years, these teams are different. But I can't help but remember the narrative going in. That Eagles front had a NFL single-season record amount of sacks.
Yeah, I remember.
And it was like, oh man, the Chiefs just have no answer. They're gonna be under duress all game. It's gonna be the Bucs Super Bowl all over again. Those were real things when we were in Phoenix that everybody was talking about. And then the Chiefs gave up 0 sacks. No,
Not the field, they couldn't grip their
That's
feet.
right. It was all about the field. Because both teams played on the same field.
Chiefs did get sacks in that game, by the way.
They did. That was always funny about that whole turf thing. But that's maybe also part of where I'm at. Like, I recognize it's a very big strength of the Eagles, Jalen Carter, that interior. It's legit.
They had the same number of sacks as the Chiefs.
But that right there, I don't think Caliendo is just going to get destroyed every single snap. Will there be a snap or two where Jalen Carter gets them? Probably. Yeah, Jalen Carter's pretty darn good. Like, he gets paid to play as well. He's a legit player. He got drafted where he got drafted. Should have been drafted higher if it wasn't for the weird stuff before. Like, he's a legit player, but I feel good about the offensive line. I really do heading in.
This is probably, I'll be honest, this is probably the best I felt all year. Because in the beginning part of the year, sure, you feel good, but it still comes with these massive questions of Jawan Taylor was coming off this year where constantly he was called for penalties last year. He was the league's most penalized player. He ended up being one of the league's most penalized players again this year. But it's like you didn't know if he was going to improve or stay the same or be different. You had a rookie starting at left tackle who we felt pretty good about because he won the job so fast. We thought, well, he must be really good. He got the job like in a millisecond, so things are cool there. But from week 2 on, when he was benched, it was just oh God, is it Wanye? Don't know. Hurt? Are they? Humphrey's in, guessing he's hurt. And you had just been stuck in, you don't even know what you are. At least now, offensive line-wise, I know who they are. Joe Thuney can be beat by elite-level athletes on the edge at left tackle. But he went through an entire game last week allowing 0 pressures. And the week before, he let up some pressures because Will Anderson is pretty good at football. But, he held his own against what I think is one of the better pass rushing duos, statistically the best, by the way, sack-wise, in Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. In the NFL this year, they didn't get, cooked on the offensive line. I think they're stable. I think it's hurt him probably more, funny enough, in the run game. Where I've noticed it way more is, at the end of that game against Buffalo, we were all typing about the game, saying, oh, are the things, typing the things that you think might be the thing you talk about if for some reason the team loses. And at the end of the game, one thing absolutely stood out about Buffalo. They could not run the ball. When Buffalo knew they were running it and they were going to run the ball, unsuccessful. They got in 2nd and 10, I felt like 10 times in a row. And I know that's an exaggeration, but they got in 2nd and 10 and what felt like 10 times in a row because every first down carry they attempted was good for a yard or 0 yards, maybe 2 if it went pretty well. That's where I've noticed the offensive line play more. It puts the ball in the hands of Patrick Mahomes more, which I guess that didn't seem all that bad to me.
But here's the part too, and the reason why the run game, how much of a factor on the Chiefs end. We know on the Eagles end it's going to be a huge part of this game with Barkley, but on the Chiefs end, the fact that there'll be some other wrinkle off, the diamond formation is what everybody's talking about this week because the Chiefs had not run the Mahomes run out at all ever. Like, it's not on film anywhere. That's why they caught the Bills off guard. And they set it up with a scripted play early. First 15 plays when they ran the counter to Kareem Hunt, he gets a touchdown. Then later they give the exact same look. Instead, this time Mahomes
and
keeps
do everything that looks like it's going to be the counter, but then Mahomes keeps
great
it.
scheme, great play design. That's all scouting and that's beautiful. That's how you're saying, hey, they struggled to run the ball against Buffalo at times. The beautiful thing is there will be some other wrinkle, whether it's an actual formation or just a wrinkle off of what we just saw, that now the Eagles are going to have to account for, which could then open something else up that's completely different. Right? I will be stunned if the Chiefs don't come out in that same diamond formation at least once against Philly. There's got to be a third wrinkle off of it.
I would think so.
What I mean? There's probably a third wrinkle off of it.
It's probably like an inside handoff to...
Shovel pass back to Travis Kelce.
Yeah,
I don't know.
or it's an inside handoff to a wide
whatever.
receiver in motion or a million other things that we know that they like to do. But that also speaks to having to do those things a lot of times, speaks to the idea that they have to create ways where Mahomes doesn't just take a 7-step drop, wait, and throw. And that's okay because that's where you are offensive line-wise. Next year, they'll try to solve that problem, I'm sure, in the offseason for the 5th consecutive. Doesn't that stand out, by the way? Like, they're getting ready to have a chance for a three-peat, like, whatever, a week and a half from now. They'll have a chance to go for a three-peat. We have not known whether or not they are good at left tackle for like 5 years in a row. They had to trade for Orlando Brown Jr. like a few months before the season started. They traded him and they drafted like Wanye, and then they brought in like an aging Donovan Smith. And then they're like, well, that Donovan Smith's gone. We'll just either go Wanye or this rookie in the late second round in Kingsley Suamataia. And it's like, well, that didn't work. What about DJ Humphrey? Our guard will play tackle now. That's 5 years in a row where we just have no idea whether or not left tackle, a somewhat important position, I am told, based by smart football people.
Yeah, that'll be in the offseason a huge priority again. They will have to figure out what their long-term plan is. But in the meantime, they've made this thing work. They're in the Super Bowl again. That is another way to, whether it's Brett Veach or Andy Reid in particular, Andy Heck, the offensive line coach, the fact that they've been able to put this thing together and get quality play to where they're in the Super Bowl. And as you pointed out, at least last week, Joe Thuney also was the best left tackle in the game based off a couple metrics.
I don't know. It's not necessarily to go against your point. It's almost like a different angle of it. I wonder if the Chiefs' run game is going to have to be there because Philly ranks second in opponent passing yards a game. The run defense is also very good. It's about where the Chiefs are. They're about similar. Obviously, with two bigger guys, the DTs, Carter, Davis.
Yeah.
There is Nolan Smith is a guy to watch, but Zach Bond too. But if they can't run the ball and they're forced to pass, that's where I think it gets interesting because like the last Super Bowl, it was about the pass rush. This year, it's about Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Darius Slay, and that secondary and how good they've been at limiting what teams can do offensively, where if they're not able to run, I'd be a little bit... It's more of a run-stuffing defensive line. To me, it seems like than a pass rush defensive line.
That's fair.
Which makes it where we've seen the Chiefs have to run the ball more consistently. That's when sometimes they've been most successful. I'm not worried necessarily, but I think that's an angle where they might actually find themselves needing to run the ball to help move the ball down the field effectively in key spots.
It's definitely probably part of the script, no doubt. I would say that we know they like to have extensions of the run game. So whether that's going to be some new wrinkles off of what we've seen before, whether it's getting Worthy out in space that's on a short pass, or we see maybe P. Ryan more involved in the passing game. The short extensions. I would say, what was the number yesterday we brought up? The Eagles have been one of the best in giving up explosive plays. They don't give them up. But the Chiefs don't really get a ton of explosive plays. The Chiefs aren't relying on completing a bunch of 40-plus yard passes.
They were the second worst team in the NFL. The only team worse in explosive plays this year was the Las Vegas Raiders.
You would like to be better with explosive plays, but if the Chiefs were reliant, let's say the Chiefs were number one in explosive plays, and then I told you the Eagles were number two in defending them, you'd be like, well, something's got to give there. The Chiefs have not. The 32 points they put up against Buffalo earlier this year, when they scored 30 against a bad Carolina team. It wasn't because they were getting 50-plus yard touchdowns.
No.
It was still the same methodical drive. So that's, I guess, the explosive play stat for me, on the defensive side for the Eagles, isn't as jarring because that's not what the Chiefs have relied on, but it definitely is a step up in defense. The Bills' defense was not nearly as good as what they're about to see next week in Philly. That is definitely true. And then on the flip side, the Eagles, what they have faced here recently, the Commanders' defense is one of the worst in football this year, too.
Yep.
And so
Tampa's wasn't like...
they're going to play a Chiefs defense that, with Spags and more time to prep, is going to be their toughest defense the Eagles have faced in multiple weeks because they played the Packers, the Commanders, and the Rams, right? Mm-hmm. And those three defenses are not what the Chiefs' defense
It's just so funny. Like, I know that the Eagles are going to outrush them, but I think it was Scott Kaxmar who put out the stats, so it doesn't really matter when they get outgained on the ground anyway, Drew. I had to look it up. Kaxmar put it out. Since 2018, the Chiefs are 24-14 when being outrushed by 50 or more yards. No other NFL team has won even 35% of those games, and the average is 18 to 19%. They have won 63% of the games of being outrushed by 50-plus yards. Everyone else in the league wins 18%.
I don't think it's a matter of being outrushed. They can't run the ball. Period. Like Kareem Hunt, if he has 15 carries for 32 yards, that's a problem. I think just in terms of them being able to, if the Chiefs are in 3rd and 8 all the time, like if they
have to rely on Patrick Mahomes, no, I'm not trying to be a smartass, but like I think they'll be okay.
I know, but I'm saying throughout all season long, what we've seen them do when they're at their best, they run the ball once or twice. They get to 3rd and 4, and they complete the 3rd down.
I think that's universal in the league, typically.
But if they're in 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, not that they can't do it, because again, yes, they have Patrick Mahomes, but I'm saying when you're going up against that defense, if they can't run the ball, period, and it's a one-dimensional offense, it makes it a lot harder, even when you have Patrick Mahomes, to be able to get things done when they can stop you with just 4 dudes and they're not even blitzing, and then they can just drop in coverage. It makes it a lot harder, I think, not on the offensive line, but just harder on Patrick Mahomes to be able to get things done.
For sure. And for reference, just even when they played in the Super Bowl a couple years ago against Philly, Pacheco, I think, had 76 yards rushing. It's not like he went off and had a huge day, but the difference was both quarterbacks were able to also run. Like that's I guess what we're not discussing with this conversation, is that it's not just that Kareem Hunt needs to have X amount. They also have Patrick Mahomes' ability with his legs. He just had
overall the run game.
He just had 45 yards and 2 touchdowns against Buffalo. Mahomes did.
That's part of the run game.
And so with him and Hunt, they had didn't they have over 100 yards rushing or just short of it last week against Buffalo when they combined the two?
It's just funny. They talk about that when it comes to like running quarterbacks, like Lamar Jackson. They got 200 yards on the ground today. Well, because Mahomes doesn't have run design plays. That is legitimately only like the 3rd designed run Patrick Mahomes has done all year. So when he runs for that big one, most of his stuff is unscripted, and so it looks a little bit different. One stat I will say that really stood out to me, and Mahomes has actually been on the other side of like breaking all of these things, but this time it's in his favor, so we know historically won't go his way. There have been 4 times when a coach and quarterback have faced off again in a Super Bowl rematch. They're like, all right, nothing changed, right? Not like, oh, these 2 teams played each other 10 years ago and now they're getting ready to do battle again. Same coach, same quarterback, these 2 teams facing off again. The team who won the first matchup, Gold, won the rematch all 4 times. That seems like, I know it's a small sample size and that's always tough in the NFL because we're only talking about 4 games. Doesn't that seem like a kind of truth teller for where you are? Hey, if you don't change the 2 most important things on the field and we have to play each other again in the single most important game, raise your hand if you want to go with the better coach and the better quarterback, even if you're just oversimplifying the game in a lot of ways. And I feel like that's what it's coming down to.
Yeah, I mean, also just Jalen Hurts lost his first Super Bowl. And we know all the time, like, okay, do you get back? Well, he got back. That's the first task. Because sometimes you go to one. And I remember after Jalen Hurts lost to Mahomes, even though a lot of people think, looking at the numbers that he outplayed Mahomes despite losing, he found a way to get back. And a lot of times we wonder if a quarterback can get back to a Super Bowl. And he was able to do that. But there's 36 starting quarterbacks who lost their Super Bowl debut. And there's only been 3 that have turned around and found a way to win in their next trip. One was Len Dawson. The other was Bob Greasy.
So, like, a billion years ago?
And then John Elway. And then John Elway. 27 years ago.
So, I mean, it's been a minute since somebody who lost their first Super Bowl went back and then won it. One of those was Greasy in the middle of, again, I hate to put, like, no salary cap in the middle of their dynasty run. So, pretty good time to be Bob Greasy. One was Lynn Dawson back in like the founding of the Super Bowl.
He lost Super Bowl 1 and then he won it 3 years later in New Orleans in Super Bowl 4 against the Vikings, right?
So like, I mean, we're talking about borderline ancient history, and the fact that a quarterback hasn't done it in 30 years now is kind of crazy. There's things that's working against the Eagles. The other part that the Eagles, obviously, this is if you just separate from your brain the fact that he's having to go up against Patrick Mahomes. He's not going to his second Super Bowl gold and then just taking on any other AFC quarterback he could have hypothetically faced. He's going up against this generation's greatest quarterback with a guy going for a chance at a three-peat. It really stood out to me, the fact that when these two teams face off again, the team who won the first matchup is again likely 100% of the time, based on the current odds, to win that game again. And I think a lot of this comes down to the thing that you and I continue to try to hammer on the show, which is we should always be making a bigger deal about the coaching matchups in Super Bowls too. McDermott, if you made me rank out the reasons why the Bills lost, Sean McDermott is in the top 3 reasons why they did. I didn't understand why they didn't run late. I didn't understand the going for 2 both times. I didn't understand the challenge of the Xavier Worthy catch that almost cost them more time. Like, I just thought he made mistake after mistake. Sirianni is obviously a good coach. He's coached for 4 years and is now in the Super Bowl for the second time. But I still think he's statistically way more likely to screw something up than Andy.
He's got notes from 2 years ago, though. He said he's got notes that he's kept from that game and things he would do differently.
Andy doesn't even do the same thing from 2 years ago. Are you kidding?
That's what's funny, as if the Chiefs are going to run the exact same thing now. He said he kept notes from 2 years ago. He used them last year in the regular season against the Chiefs when they beat them, probably. And so now he's screwed,
Good. I hope. You know what? Honest to God, please. Sirianni, that's actually a great strategy. For some reason you're listening, great strategy. I would, if I were you, just take those notes from 2 years ago, use only that plan, and then try to use that to beat Andy Reid. Because surely I've never seen Andy Reid change his offense from year to year, or even in the middle of the season, or based on his personnel. He certainly didn't run a play, as you mentioned earlier last week, that hadn't been run in the entire regular season for the Chiefs this year. But sure, go ahead and look back and been like, maybe I wouldn't have gone for 2 that one time.
Coming up in 8 minutes, we'll talk some Royals baseball with Josh Vernier. The Royals have another piece to their bullpen. Is there another move on the horizon? Royals rally is going on this weekend. But Tom Brady going to call the Super Bowl. Bill Belichick and Brady, of course, accounted, I think Brady in particular, for 12% of all Super Bowls right now, wins. It's pretty wild. But Belichick was on a podcast the other day, and he was talking about because Brady's won so much that they need to rename this thing.
Players win games. You can't win games without good players. I don't care who the coach is. It's impossible. You can't win without good players. I found out when I had Taylor and Banks and Harry Carson, Pepper Johnson, Jim Burt, Everson Walls, all those guys at the Giants. And same thing, when we got good at Cleveland and then at New England. I mean, it's Brady, it's McGinnis, it's Vrabel, it's Bruschi, it's Corey Dillon, it's Randy Moss, Troy Brown, Lawyer Malloy, Ty Law, Rodney Harrison. Those are the guys that won the games. Man, I didn't make any tackles. I didn't make any kicks. That was Vinatieri that made that kick in 4 inches of snow. You got to have good players. And as a coach, you want to give your players a chance to win. You want to put them in a position where if they go out there and play well, they'll have a chance to win. That's what Coach Parcells taught me is there's always a way to win. You just got to figure out what it is, and you have to give the players a chance.
They don't name it the Star Trophy. It's named the Lombardi Trophy.
Maybe they should name it the Brady Trophy. He won 7 of them.
So he's kind of joking at the end. This was with Jim Gray on Let's Go podcast or show over on SiriusXM, and I think he was joking a little bit, but then people were trying to be like, well, maybe he's got a point. The thing is, it also doesn't have the same ring to it, just plain and simple.
The Brady Trophy,
and I know we've had it.
I mean, that's got a name.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then the other thing, I said I'm willing to go ahead and play along with Belichick on this, as long as we can rename the Rules and Infractions Committee the Belichick and Brady Committee in the NFL as well. Then we can go ahead and call it the Brady Trophy. As long as anytime we talk about violations and cheating, it's the Belichick and Brady Committee.
I understand. Here's the only argument. Yes, I'm fine with that. The only thing that I think is the argument for it is, why have we just agreed that things have to just be named after old dead people? Can we
history? You don't like history?
Well, but that's it. But Tom Brady's part of NFL history. Nothing will ever be named after him. So we never get to honor that history.
Something can be named after him, just not something that's already named.
What? What's going to be named? The Heart and Hustle Award? That doesn't count.
History matters. If Tom Brady played 70 years ago, there might have been something named after him. There'll be something else named after him.
Can only be 100 years old.
So you think that there's a time limit on history? So like,
correct.
Okay,
we should reset it after a while and be like, that was 1 billion years ago. For instance, they shouldn't rename the Lombardi Trophy because it's a badass name after Tom Brady, but they should rename the Super Bowl MVP trophy.
Well, that's fine. That's a different argument. That's
Pete
fine.
Rozelle was the commissioner a gajillion years ago. I don't care that that's the name of the trophy. Just name it after Brady.
That was something they used to honor him at the time. You're wanting to wipe out history. You're wanting to wipe out history.
I want to wipe out some history, yes.
If you want,
so it's 200 years from now, and we have nothing named after Brady, nothing named after Mahomes, but we're still here calling it the Pete Rozelle Award? Who cares? That guy did something 1 billion years ago. Why do I care it's named after that dude? Those other people also did things historically.
Yeah, you're right.
That existed in history.
Let me call up Vegas as well. They better rename Caesar's Palace as well. They better go ahead and change the name of that. It's been too long now, so go ahead. And it was too long when they built it as well. That was many, many years before. So go ahead and change that. That's slightly
different because
they should change
that's
that.
the whole theme they're going for.
But they should change it. It's been too long. They should do that.
I'm just saying you could include other things. That's all. You know? Mm-hmm. Someone says they did. They named the Tuck rule the Brady rule. I don't think they actually called it that in the books.
Not in the books, but it is.
We call it that colloquially.
I get what you're saying. By the way, Brady will have plenty of things named after him if he wants. There'll be either whether it's awards, there'll be some other honor, something like that. But if somebody already gave you the name and it didn't turn out yet, you had some terrible stuff connected to you that we didn't know about at the time, then we don't need to change the name of it.
I think if you were just like Pete Rozelle and you're just the commissioner, just name like the league offices after him. Oh, you're at the Pete Rozelle NFL offices. He doesn't need the Super Bowl MVP. He had nothing to do with that. He never played in it. He never coached in it. He didn't participate in it in any way. I think we could probably scrap his name off of that.
So let me ask you
this. Somebody else.
So is it So you know that the Chiefs have won a couple of these trophies called the Lamar Hunt Trophy. Is that too old for you? They need to change it to the Andy Reid Trophy now or something? Or?
At the moment, no. And his is less recent than Lombardi, probably.
I'm just saying, like you're saying 50
I'm not
years
saying
from
all
now.
of them. Look, you're trying to say I'm saying to change the name of every trophy. I said keep Lombardi. I'm okay with some of them. I'm saying we don't have to honor every dead dude, and we can put some names of Brady on things, or Mahomes down the road, or what else.
You're acting like they just changed it to Pete Rozelle like 5 years ago or something.
No, it's been that for a long time. But you're just saying, like, I guess, let's fast forward 500 years in the future. Football's played the exact same way. It's still got to be named the Rozelle Trophy?
Why wouldn't it be?
Why can't we change it? Why is the only history that matters is the history when the league started? No history after that matters under any circumstance. That's all zeroed out and means nothing. The history matters is the people who were around when it started.
What's the trophy for?
The Super Bowl MVP.
He never played. He never played one snap in the NFL.
This is a suits thing, Drew. Some guy in suit.
It was called that to honor the commissioner of the National Football League back in the 70s, I believe it would have been, or whatever, and that's it. What you're saying, though, is like, if we are playing a sport or whatever, and if 500 years from now that it can't exist or whatever, that award anymore, that's silly to me. You know what you have to do? Create something new. Just like anything, something got invented or whatever, and it's different.
So I got to create a whole other sport to name things after Brady?
Football. I mean, the National Football League wasn't a thing in 1850. Somebody created the National Football League, and that's what we call it.
Somebody pointed out the NBA did just rename all their trophies. You got a problem with that? Isn't it like the Michael Jordan award now?
I'm not sure what they do with their awards.
Yeah, they actually played the games though, so I think that's fair. I think if you're going to give an award to an MVP of somebody who played on the,
I think the Super Bowl MVP, you can't be a
have to make it a
commissioner.
player. I'm sorry, it can't be. It cannot be the commissioner.
They renamed the shooting guard or one of the trophies after Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I think there's also a Kobe trophy as well.
But what was the name before?
I don't know.
Just MVP.
That's the difference. It wasn't already anointed to somebody and honored to somebody.
I mean, if I had asked you, like, it was I'm sure
put Pete Rozelle's name on a
I just
building
asked the
or
question.
something.
That's what I'm trying to find out. Was the trophy that's now the Michael Jordan trophy, what was it named before? Was it honoring someone else's legacy before?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to
I don't think it was.
If it wasn't, then it's not the same comparison.
Because they just renamed. The Hakeem Olajuwon trophy is for Defensive Player of the Year, Wilt Chamberlain for Rookie of the Year, Havlicek for Sixth Man of the Year,
But it wasn't honoring. They did not replace random NBA player with new NBA player. That's my only argument.
Renaming. I think they might. I don't know. I've got to look it up. I don't know if they renamed it.
Okay. Let me know if that's a big difference. That's all I'm saying. All right, up next, let's talk a little Royals baseball. Josh Vernier is going to be at Royals Rally. He's got some great guests coming up on Saturday. I want to discuss that with him. Plus, the Royals made a move yesterday, and it definitely bolsters this bullpen. To what extent? We'll find out next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
MD Anderson Cancer Center is again ranked #1 in the nation for cancer care by U.S. News & World Report's Best Hospitals rankings. Our physicians treat more types of cancers in a day than many see in their whole career. This unmatched depth of expertise, combined with our groundbreaking discoveries, gives our patients access to the most innovative treatment options. Learn more at mdanderson.org.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6812. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6812. That's 800-575-6812. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
When I wake up,
the best mornings
in the morning light,
start with Wrangler.
I pull on my jeans and I feel alright.
Jeans, jackets, and shirts that get your day started. Good mornings make for better days. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
What does it feel like to file with TaxSlayer and get your guaranteed maximum refund? It feels like the last level of a video game, facing off against the final boss who stands between you and your refund.
All your refund has belonged to me.
Using the power of TaxSlayer like a secret power-up he doesn't see coming.
Only the most tax-confident can defeat me.
Throwing your laptop at his video game face and watching him crumble into a giant pile of shiny coin tax refunds.
Oh, not fair. You use TaxSlayer.
Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Welcome to TGL, presented by SoFi, golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's 2 hours of hammer dropping, overtime forcing, playoffs on the line golf, Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour, split into 6 teams. Learn more at TGLGolf.com. Tune in every week for TGL matches. Keep up, it's golf.
Ad paid for by RFA Cancellation. Attention timeshare owners. If you need to get rid of your timeshare for any reason, please listen to the following message. Getting out of a timeshare commitment is not easy, and it takes time. But we specialize in helping consumers legally get rid of their expensive timeshares forever. Can't get the vacation dates that work for you? Maybe you felt taken advantage of or forced into the timeshare? Maybe you just can't continue to shoulder those monthly payments any longer. If you need to eliminate your timeshare commitment, then you need to take down this number, 800-790-9617. We will safely and legally get rid of your timeshare payments forever, all with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't continue to let your timeshare be a financial burden to you and your loved ones. Call us now at 800-790-9617. The call is free. The consultation is free. Call 800-790-9617. That's 800-790-9617. Again, 800-790-9617.
Okay, so that's with bacon, cheese, lettuce, tomato, grilled onions, ketchup, and hold the pickles.
You know what you like. You wouldn't order your burger just any way. Why should your sports talk be any different? With Chapters on the free Odyssey app, you can choose the topics that matter to you most. Whether it's reactions, matchup previews, injury updates, or team news, quickly find what you really care about. Your football talk, your way. Download the free Odyssey app and start listening today.
Chiefs coverage is brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the Scratch Kitchen delivers lunch in the clutch. I mean, where else can you order a 29-degree draft beer and a quickie combo on your lunch break? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
We're back here on Cody and Gold.
Still arguing about awards.
We're still arguing about history.
By the way, they did rename that Michael Jordan one after someone. Podoloff, who was the commissioner of basketball.
And they gave him a different award.
A much lamer one, not MVP.
Cody thinks that it should not be Allen Fieldhouse anymore, and that Naismith Court needs to be Bill Self Court now because it's been too long in Naismith. Nobody cares anymore. Is basically what you're arguing.
That guy founded the sport. Let's get back and
he
away
also
here.
coached. He coached.
Yeah, at least he did something. If it's named after a commissioner, immediately.
And the Jerry
rename
West Award, they created a new award for him. So fine, create a new award for Tom Brady if you need to make sure he gets an award. Anyway, let's talk about another Michigan man, Josh Vernier, our Royals insider. He joins us here on Cody and Gold. He's got his Royals rally coverage beginning Saturday at 9 a.m. right here on 96.5 The Fan. I was looking at the guest lineup. This thing is stacked, man. You start things off with Bobby Witt Jr. joining you.
Yeah. Should be a good time. Always a good time. And honestly, you go back to last season, and, well, I'm sure you guys remember the manager, Matt Quatrero, telling Fesco and Dusty about how it was starting to become clear dating back to Royals rally last season, just how close that team was, how guys like Adam Frazier and Michael Wacha and Hunter Renfroe ingratiated themselves with the group, beginning with this weekend in Kansas City, doing it with the fans. So without some of those voices, the Frazier, the Hampson, without a Brady Singer and a Will Smith, it'll be interesting to see how this team comes together starting on Saturday.
When you look at what the Royals have already done this offseason, I think we got 2 weeks before spring training. I start giving up that anything else is going to happen. I know baseball's changed a lot, Vern, and when these deals get done. Are the Royals, before we talk about Estevez and what he adds to there, are the Royals done making moves now, or are we still thinking there's something kind of in the works somewhere over the next couple of weeks?
I mean, you could go back to last spring when they made the acquisition of John Schreiber. You know, what you allude to with how much the game has changed, to me, is just a reflection of, you know, it used to be the small market teams that had to win on the margins. Now everyone is, even if you're the Mets, the Yankees, the Dodgers, you too are utilizing analytics and staying true to the numbers, but you also have a boatload of money that you can throw at players when you deem them worthy of that money. You look at a lot of the contracts the Dodgers have doled out. They're fair market deals. So with all that being said, yeah, I do think there's more to come. Do I think it's going to be another $25 million, like deal like we see with Estevez? No, not necessarily. But I, as a Royals fan, certainly don't want to rule it out, because I think one of the biggest questions going into the season, and I'll admit it's wild to think, but how long does John Sherman, how long does ownership want to see what a wild card team looks like? Because they got to see it last year. Because John Sherman spent a lot of money last offseason, and it looks like he's going to spend a little bit more going into this season, maybe a lot more going into this season compared to last year. But he's a competitor, right? That front office, that ownership group is made up of competitive businessmen and businesswomen. When do they say, okay, yeah, it's nice, because right now they're in it. Right now, when you look at the division, you can make a case that they've had the best offseason of any team in the division. And that's purposely said because no one in the division really outside of Detroit has done much of anything. So are they done? I sure hope not, because they have a chance to put the division in their rearview mirror with another bat, maybe another arm. And it doesn't even need to be a big name. Again, I referenced John Schreiber. Go find, and they must, if you're going to win consistently in this market, go find those diamonds in the rough. Go find those guys that are overlooked in other organizations.
It's hard to, I think, for some fans to look at the what appears to be the outfield and think that they're done. I think that's where a lot of fans are at. They see, like, maybe it has to be via trade, and now they've got another bullpen arm in Estevez, and they're willing maybe to move another bullpen arm or move somebody else that another team views as a starting pitcher to go get that outfield. Because I think if they were to add another outfielder, a lot of fans, I think, would feel like, okay, they've got a complete team, and they can do what you're saying, which is not be talking just about the division, but be talking even bigger than that.
Sure. And a trade financially might be the easiest route. Although, again, go spend. Go throw your money around a little bit wisely, not haphazardly, but go spend your money properly, because there are names out there that I think would appease the fan base, pacify the fan base. I don't know, Kike Hernandez, Mark Canna's still out there, Randall Grichuk, a third baseman option, and I think Justin Turner and Yoan Moncada. There are names out there that would take a one-year deal, and I don't think it would be a bad fit with this team. But as far as a trade, sure. If they're going to move one of these additional right-handed relievers, the Carlos Hernandez, I can't imagine Chris Stratton's going to bring you much, but a Hunter Harvey, something like that, you want to make a package deal. I don't think you're going to get a middle-of-the-lineup type of bat for that, but what you could get is, or what you must get is, the John Schreiber of a corner outfielder, right? Again, the flex that we've seen from, it may pale in comparison to Brett Veach, but what J.J. Piccolo's done over the past 2 seasons is impressive. But as we talk about throughout the summer, he can't stop. He's got to continue to hit at a 70-75% clip. It's just wild that Veach across the parking lot's hitting at like a 80% clip in a salary-capped league.
When you look at, and we can talk about the salary cap later, maybe, as that's related to the entire baseball offseason, but when you look at, do you think either guy will care about, I'm the closer? Ursack wasn't doing that before he got traded to Kansas City. Estevez did it, obviously, last year. Or is this just, hey, we're pitching you all in leverage. Nobody cares that save is next to your name?
Well, that'll be the job, of course, of the coaching staff to get everyone to buy in. But we are seeing Major League Baseball and these general managers pay seventh-inning guys, eighth-inning guys, firemen, along with the arms that accumulate the saves, right? They're not as beholden to that statistic as they had been in decades previous. So you would like to think that the clubhouse that these guys are all going to be sharing with a Bobby, Vinny, Salvi, Waka, Lugo, a lot of veterans, a lot of guys that stay focused on winning. You would like to think that there would be a buy-in this spring, and that Hughes going to handle his bullpen much like he handles the rest of his roster. I'm going to utilize everyone, and depending on leverage, I'm going to ride my biggest arms. If Urseg's hot, he's going to be the whether it's the closer or the fireman, he's going to be the guy that comes into those high leverage situations. But shoot, you can throw a Hunter Harvey in there. You can throw a Sam Long in there. I don't think we're going to see, again, HDH, where it's you're in the 7th, you're in the 8th, you're in the 9th. I think it's going to be, as you guys know, a lot more modern thinking than that.
We're talking to Josh Vernier, our Royals insider. Royals rally at Kauffman Stadium this Saturday, 9 to 12. Vern will be live here on 96.5 The Fan. He's expected to have Bobby Witt Jr. join him around 9:45. Also, Jonathan India, J.J. Piccolo, Cole Reagans, and Matt Quatrero. Who's the player as you get set to go to spring training here before we know it? Other than, I would say, the obvious, Bobby Witt Jr. is somebody that everybody wants to watch because he's just an incredible athlete. Who's the player maybe you're most interested in seeing when you go out there?
Yeah, besides Bobby, because he's always the draw of any field that he's on. For as much as you want to say Salvi because of his greatness, or Vinny because, he has some greatness in him as well, I'm pretty confident that those three are going to be the big three once again in 2025. Who's going to support him? Jonathan India must, but outside of India, who are the guys that are going to support those three bats? Because if we're being honest, no one really came to their aid for an extended period of time last season. Renfroe had his stretches. MJ had his moments. Freddie Fermin had his moments. So MJ Melendez, Maikel Garcia, Hunter Renfroe, those are the guys that I'm excited to see on opening day. I hope they stay healthy throughout spring training, but we're now at the point, I would like to think, with this Royals team where spring training's nice, everyone stay healthy, we're not battling for major spots on the roster. It's about getting it done when the season matters, right? It's about game one of 162. So, for as excited as I am to see Michael, MJ, and Renfroe, you're not going to hear me going wild about what they're doing in spring training because we all know things change come late March, early April when you're playing in Kansas City in that cold baseball weather.
That's just Caglione, right? That'll be the people everybody goes nuts for the first week that he's at spring training.
Yeah, and understandably so, because for as much as we've been pining for this organization to go bring in that extra bat to support those big three, that bat, to me, is Jack Caglione. Even if you bring in take your pick, whatever free, outside of Alex Bregman, take your pick of all the available free agents, and I don't think that the impact they could make equals what Jack Caglione could mean to this team, maybe as early as this season.
Feels like another Cody Gold road trip in our future, maybe down to either double or triple A, depending on what it is. Vern, we obviously mentioned the moves and the outfielders and all this stuff. Does it still feel like they got one too many infielders? Like Michael, Massey, India. Obviously, Bobby's playing short. We know that they rotate guys over at first. Is there a chance that they go into the season with all these guys and then they just find a way to buy Massey 90 games, 100 games between left or filling in a day at second or filling in a day at pinch hitter or filling in a day at third? Do you think that they go that path possibly and just be deeper there? And then, Kevin Biggio is a break case of emergency minor league signing we did just in case.
Well, I think they're going to need that left-handed utility bat off of the bench, and whether that's Biggio or Brandon Shoemaker, it doesn't inspire a ton of confidence, but that's the guy that's, we're not going to see very often outside of a few pinch-running situations. Yeah, I could see them breaking camp with those five infielders. Obviously, Bobby, Vinny, and India, but, Massey and Michael, I can make a pretty compelling argument both ways, as far as them being a part of the future or them just being nice complementary pieces for 2025. We all know the upside of Michael Massey, but we also know that back issue has lingered for years. Now, I'll be the first to admit, I didn't think he would play as much as he did last season after that thing flared up, and then he went on a run for the final 2 months of the season and played just about every single game. So he's already proven me wrong, and maybe he can do it again this upcoming season and give the team 120 some odd games of healthy Michael Massey, quality offense Michael Massey. And then Michael Garcia right now, his saving grace is that terrific glove, his outstanding instincts, and his great ability on the base paths. But offensively, he didn't do anything to lock down third base. Again, defensively and base, of course that stuff's important, but what stunk this team last season was its inability to support the big three in the lineup. So, Michael and Massey, to me, it would behoove them to have a good start to spring training, to show up looking good, feeling good, because of those the multitude of available free agents. There could be a 1-year stopgap that all of a sudden takes that position and turns it into an offensive boon for the 1 through 9.
Are you entering this season in the best shape of your life? That's the question we all want to know.
Worst
shape. Damn. That's tough.
Worst of my life. I weighed myself the other night, and I just need to put the beers down until the Super Bowl. That's what I'm going to try to do.
There we go. All right, Vern. Good to have you on the show. We'll be listening Saturday. Thanks, man.
All right, thank you.
There you go. Josh Vernier, our Royals insider. He's got his Royals Rally show coming up on Saturday. And for those of you that are going, of course, you can. I think there's still some G8 tickets, maybe. If you go to the Royals website, you can.
At least by the email I got yesterday.
The VIP stuff, I think, is sold out, but they still have tickets. Royals Rally Saturday at Kauffman. Vern's going to be broadcasting live 9 to noon right here on 96.5 The Fan. As I said, loaded lineup. Bobby Wood Jr. to kick things off. We're supposed to be on around 9:45 Saturday. Jonathan India, newcomer to the Royals, and then JJ Piccolo, 10:45. Cole Reagans, 11, and Matt Cottrell at 11:15 Saturday. Tomorrow we will also have JJ Piccolo on the show, Royals general manager. We'll talk baseball with him. Plus, we know he's a Philly guy. Last time we had JJ on around the Super Bowl, it was when we were in Phoenix, and because that's, of course, near spring training, JJ was on Radio Row and everything. So we'll talk about the Eagles-Chiefs rematch a little bit with him tomorrow, too.
He grew up in that area, is an Eagles fan, so yeah, we'll ask him a little bit about whether or not he's going to go there and find out whether or not if, Vinny's going, maybe he can catch an extra ticket. He should try to get himself invited, too, He makes good money. I guess he could probably afford a Super Bowl ticket, but man, that ain't cheap. Ain't for the faint of heart.
Yeah, I got another email today, Cody. My $10 credit towards the $14,000 worth of Super Bowl tickets is expiring soon. I better hurry up.
They didn't up it, huh?
They did not. It's still just a $10 credit. Thank you for that $10 credit on the tickets. It's going to really help me out. Mm-hmm.
Text line was being very mean to me over this naming thing.
Oh, well, people are just giving you a hard time.
Claiming things that just aren't true. Like, I'm just hoping to rename every trophy. That's not my argument. I'm just saying, like, if the leagues are 400 years old, we're just supposed to never in trophy form.
History, man.
Michael Jordan is a bigger part of NBA history than that dude whose name I already forgot.
And they
changed the name from.
And they're not renaming the Larry O'Brien trophy, are they?
Again, you don't have to rename the.
No, but they're not. They're in Brady's trying to. They're.
I'm not saying to rename Lamar Hunt, or the Lamar Hunt Trophy, and I'm not saying to rename Lombardi. I am saying that they should rename the Rozelle Super Bowl MVP to the Tom Brady Super Bowl
nobody
MVP.
Calls it. But here's the other thing, though. Let's be real, and it's different in the NBA because people referenced it more. But and we didn't even know the name of the guy that the NBA had the MVP trophy attached to. Nobody says, the odds for Mahomes to win the Pete Rozelle Award. No, we just say the odds for Mahomes to win the MVP award. Like we don't even.
So
say,
then why do we care if we're adding these old dead dudes? People are saying I'm trying to change presidents on the Mount
I think
Rushmore.
the argument is if you're going to use that, hey, like enough time has passed, which is initially now you've changed it a little bit. Now it makes more sense. You've changed it to where he means more to history. That's a stronger argument than before, where you're just like, hey, it's been 100 years, time to change it.
It's both.
Then people are like, just get George Washington in Cody's mind off the dollar bills and everything as well.
They keep talking about changing the 20 to Harriet Tubman, so whatever.
Yeah,
I don't
they've
like
been talking
here's
about
the
that
thing.
for a decade.
I will say we pretend like having these like old dudes' faces or names on things, like somehow like I'm against them in history. Like that's not the only history. I don't have to honor them just because they were around first. I genuinely don't care if they put like you want Washington's face off the one? Yeah, I don't care. Sure. What do I? It's just a dollar bill. You want to put someone else's face on it? Sure. I'm not saying blow up Mount Rushmore etched into the side of a mountain and carve in some new faces.
Well, there's people that are trying to accomplish that. Actually, that literally got introduced this week. We don't need to go down that road, but that literally happened. Actually,
put some other thing. Now, I will say I did look it up because there's some easy ones. The NFL MVP does not currently named after any player.
Okay. Well, there you go. There you go,
If
Cody.
you're looking for the name something after Tom Brady,
there it is.
You could do this without having to change anything at the moment.
Yeah,
there is no name attached to the NFL MVP.
Is Tom Brady the guy you want to name that after, though? I don't think
he has the most, I assume.
I think Peyton Manning has more MVPs than he does. Is that not true? I don't know if Tom Brady has league MVP. I don't know if he has as many.
He has the most
MVPs.
Super Bowl MVPs for sure.
Correct.
Manning has 5.
Yeah,
damn.
And name it the Manning because I think it has to be the Manning Award.
Brady doesn't even deserve that one. Sorry, Rozelle, you're out. In my hypothetical of the renaming of trophies, you're gone. You're gone. Someone's like, the Rozelle family is going to really hate you for this one. I'm picking on them in particular because I'm not going to look up all the names of all the other like.
It's just funny.
It's
just funny because it's just funny because there's a lot of things. If you're just like, hey, somebody in our lifetime needs to be on these things. Like, there's a lot of things that we need to change.
Someone's like cutting in line. Cutting in line? No, I'm just comparing accomplishments.
No, they're saying you need a trophy for the Cody Tapp cutting in line trophy.
I don't even know what would that trophy look like. Are you like in the front of a stanchion?
Probably.
Like just
you're moving a stanchion to the side.
There's a rope in front of you, and you're standing in the front of it. As in, you get to be first. I'd like it to be cleverly designed if, it's going to be a trophy named after me.
Yeah.
For a while, we were just trying to get like a sandwich named after the show, A trophy? That feels aiming too high.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
If you run a local shop, can we get a Cody and Gold item on the menu? Do you want to be able to like the food?
Yes. That'd be nice.
I'm just asking. There's a whole Curb episode about this. He doesn't like what's on his sandwich.
If there's food,
Larry doesn't like what's on his sandwich. It's like whitefish and something. He didn't like it. What's that?
I think you guys have to you both have to collectively like the sandwich that's named after you.
That's
or whatever
tougher because I'm pretty open in the food department, and Gold's a little pickier when it comes to that stuff.
That's right.
So like it's harder to find
Or
common ground.
maybe it's a combo and you get to pick which sandwich you want. It could be the gold or it could be the tap. I don't know.
Oh, you could have it prepared
Drew.
2 different ways?
There you
That's
go.
actually kind of smart.
There you go, Drew. All right. Up next, we'll talk a little bit about these one possession games that the Chiefs continue to win, and why does perhaps the margin of victory change the way everybody discusses this dynasty? Is that what this is? We'll get into that next.
Cody and Gold.
I didn't sleep well. I was drunk.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5, The Fan.
The FanDuel Kick of Destiny is back, and this time it's every Manning for himself. This Super Bowl will have 2 legends take the field in a sudden death field goal showdown. The brothers, Peyton and Eli, live from New Orleans. 1 kick to claim ultimate family bragging rights. Who will rise to the moment? Pick your winner now in the FanDuel app, and if you back the right brother, you'll earn a share of $10 million in bonus bets. It's FanDuel Kick of Destiny 3. Make your free pick, and don't forget to tune in to watch the showdown live during Super Bowl 59 pregame show on Fox at 2 p.m. Central. May the best Manning win. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com/KFNZ and bet with FanDuel, an official partner of Super Bowl 59 and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. 21 and present in Kansas. No purchase necessary. Bonus issue with non-withdrawable bonus bets. It expires 7 days after restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Can help with your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we are improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
Rally House.
Shop every team in town.
College
and pro.
Come on, it's time to go.
We're New Orleans bound, KC. Shop the largest selection of Chiefs, AFC champions, and Super Bowl gear at Rally House. New postseason styles arriving daily.
Kansas, Missouri, Kansas State. Chiefs and Royals make KC great.
Rally House.
Rally House.
It's your city, it's your house. It's the Rally House.
Limited quantity. Selection varies by location. Shop rallyhouse.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? So you're not alone. And even better, Hymns can help. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. It all starts with an online intake form. From there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand.
That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So, how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
What other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, it sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Big game coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by Community America Credit Union. Member owned, open to all, invested in you. Join today at CommunityAmerica.com.
Fesco and Dusty live from New Orleans all next week for Super Bowl 59, right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
11 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Our big game coverage on 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by Community America Credit Union. Member owned, open to all, invested in you. Join today at CommunityAmerica.com. Here in about 45 minutes, we're going to hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes as this is their game prep week, and then they'll head to New Orleans later next week. I guess Sunday officially is when they travel out there, because the media opening night and all the circus that is on Monday night. And you just heard as well, Bob and Dusty will be providing coverage of that beginning Monday, be following all our social media channels for that. The opening night, I think the Chiefs are the second team this year on opening night, so it'll be the late one. I think it's not till like 9 o'clock our time, which is also New Orleans time, but that's when the Chiefs, they're not the first team out.
9 o'clock.
I think it's later. I think it's 8:30 or 9 o'clock is when the Chiefs will have their opening night portion. The Eagles are first.
We got them early last year because
it was also in Vegas. It was also in Vegas. Remember, it started at
to catch me on the social highlights,
something like
yeah,
that.
we got like dinner after. It wasn't even like that.
Was that wasn't the night you guys gave me a hard time for having God forbid spaghetti and meatballs?
No, that was the first night we were there.
Yeah, that's right.
That was the very first night.
All right, let's talk a little bit about these one-possession games. I don't have to tell you 17 straight wins in one-possession games for the Chiefs. I mean, which is
NFL record.
An NFL
Pretty
record.
Impressive.
Very, very, not luck. There's some luck in
They try
some
to make
of
it seem
those.
like it's a bad thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah, they know how to win in crucial moments. And it's now paying off.
I think what happened here is Andy Reid accepted this year even more than normal. And I know that 17 games means it goes back years and years and years, not just this season. It goes back a couple of years in order to do that. I think Andy Reid settled into the regular season too. It's fine. Everyone wants a blowout, and I don't care. And now, like you said, as a result of that, all of these one-possession games for every star on this team, Mahomes, Kelsey, Chris Jones, the coaching staff, Andy Reid, Spags, they all know exactly what to do in this scenario. This is not something you can fundamentally recreate in a practice setting. Being in a one-possession game at critical moments against good teams can only happen via repetition. And I'll be honest, I think they've cracked the code. Whatever the solution is to how do we make sure we stay on top if this game's inside a score and the other team doesn't, they've clearly figured out something the rest of the league hasn't in that scenario. Now, part of that, I will admit, is Patrick Mahomes, who is now, I think it was the Trey Wingo stat, 11-0 or 7-0. I can't remember the exact number. Only one quarterback in NFL history has trailed. It's like the final minute of the game, and you trail by 3 or 7 points. The history of the league, like 30% of the time, the team goes down and gets the score. Mahomes is a perfect 100% of the time. If it is under 2 minutes and his team's down a score, he scores. Like, that's just the reality of it. So that might be the code break.
That's a huge part of it.
That just Patrick Mahomes exists, and if you put him in other quarterbacks in other scenarios, that would be the case. I think that this is a massive advantage that the Chiefs have over Philly, is that if this game is 30-30, 20-20, in the fourth quarter, late, and you have the ball, you're screwed. And if you have the ball, we can still stop you. Like, it's not an instant loss if Philly has the ball. It is if the Chiefs do, and they have a chance to go score on you.
They've been in these moments time and time again, and yeah, I think a huge chunk of it is they just have the best quarterback in the world. But then you pair him up with what I think will end up being the best head coach in NFL history, and Andy Reid. He's certainly the best one active. at the minimum right now in the NFL, and that is a huge weapon to have. The rapport there. I also think just when we see these mic'd up clips that come out, whether it's Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, I hear Nico Remigio with Kay Adams talking about Travis Kelce, who obviously towards the end of his career, but yet he's still out there to a young player. Nico Remigio was basically a practice squad player, telling him basically like, go make a winning play, and then Remigio, the next return, makes his best return as a Chief. Like stuff like that, the culture, cliche stuff, it's a real thing with the Kansas City Chiefs, and those key moments and guys not wanting to also not playing afraid or anything, but not wanting to be the guy that ends this run. Everybody feels like no matter what their role, the buy-in that exists, that it's Travis Kelce is obviously capable of having 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's also fine with making the key block on a big run for Justin Watson or Xavier Worthy or whatever,
from
Mahomes. Yeah, I mean, that's the difference too. But they're just used to, they're not panicking. When you've won it 17 times, you know how much of a mental edge that gives you? And especially,
and I think the other teams have got to be thinking about it. How the hell do they always do this?
And if you're on, like you said, if the Chiefs are on defense, well, then if you're Chris Jones and these defensive players, like, man, if I just get the ball back to my guy, number 15, we're good. Like, that is a massive thing to have in your mind that nobody else in the league can possibly have right now.
Well, I mean, I guess I don't want to divvy up pie
no, not today.
Or anything like that again.
No.
But, like, when we start factoring in how they're able to win 17 games in a row, a huge chunk of the percentage has to be that Patrick Mahomes is just built different, or whatever the hell you want to say. He's got that dog in him, whatever you want to say, right? He does seem to possess something that most people, or really no one else on the planet, or at least in the NFL, possesses for clutch gene in that moment for whatever it exists. But I honestly think that's part of the reason that Andy Reid hasn't gone all gung-ho in these regular season games. We as fans do want to see what you're talking about. I'd love to see him just beat the brakes off a team in week 7 like Buffalo does legitimately. 5 times a year, Buffalo absolutely sticks it to a team. 4 times a year, the Eagles absolutely stick it to a team where it's just an ass-kicking from the start to the finish of the game. The Chiefs seem to have accepted that, like, I don't even care about that. Just as long as this game, like, they've seemed to have accepted a reality of themselves, which is, if this game is close in the fourth quarter, you've already lost. Like, all I got to do is keep this game close. I feel like Andy coaches in a way in the regular season. It's like, if I just keep it close, it's fine. Like, the rest of this doesn't matter. I don't have to get ahead of you.
Yeah, when they got to have it, they'll get it.
Change my game plan. If it's 3rd and 10 and I got to get 10, I'll get 10.
But
if it's 4th and 10 and I got to get 10, I'll get 10.
This all is why, though. I mean, look at Sean McDermott this past game. And I understand they thought the tush push was basically a sure thing for them, but the Chiefs had their number on it. So the Chiefs jump off sides and like, well, then we'll go for 2 now. And I'm guessing the Eagles would do the same thing in the Super Bowl if it happens. But that is still, on one hand, we say, hey, you got to be aggressive against Kansas City. But also, it still forces you into not making mistakes. Like they're not playing. You shouldn't play afraid. That'd be bad too. But at the same time, it also may cause you to be too aggressive.
Yeah, you're trying to get
when you're playing the Chiefs because you know how good they are in 1-score games. Like you feel like if you're Philadelphia, you've got to have a lead late in the game because I don't have the number in front of me. The Chiefs with a lead after the first quarter, the record is ridiculous. I was looking at it today. I don't have it memorized, but it was just stats. Look, the Chiefs don't lose many games, so a lot of those stats are going to look good. But it's something like when they lead after the first quarter over the last couple of years, I want to say it's like 20-something and 4. I can't remember. I'd have to pull it back up. But it's an insane number.
Someone says Cody's getting way too arrogant. I'll say about this game. Said confident. I don't know if I can say it. I thought about it. I said, but we know it's going to be close. That's not even my argument. My argument is not that the game will be close. I also think it will be close. I think that this is another, in my opinion.
You don't think it's 35-0?
Not quite as coin flippy as the Bills game. I'm like more 55-45 confident in this game, or 60-40 confident in this game than I was in the Buffalo game. Not overly confident. I think the game will be close, but that's the point. No one in NFL history is better in a close game than Kansas City. And I think as a result of that, it has altered the way that Andy Reid has decided to coach the last couple of years. They weren't playing this many close games in the early era of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. They also used to kick someone's ass a couple of times a year and move on about their day. And now it seems like they've adjusted to the, if it's close, we win. Like, we know we win. We're better in those spots. We don't feel the pressure. Josh Allen choked in that last game with 3 minutes and 33 seconds. I guess also kudos to did you see that? the Chiefs social media team posted interview clips from the podium from this previous week.
Okay.
Where all the players talked about going to the AFC Championship game. Here's this player talking, like when they had media availability on Monday. All the length of the videos on their social page were 3 minutes and 33 seconds.
Wow.
Which is
petty. Petty.
Look, it's a social team. I don't think Andy went down to the office and be like, stick it to him. But
of course.
I'll just be honest. Kudos.
It's petty.
Yeah,
That's incredible. I did not see that.
But
well done.
Sharp
well
and
done.
well played. And I appreciate the nod, at least a little bit. But they just don't. In those moments, they tend to. And some of it is what we've said. The big advantage Patrick Mahomes has in those spots is he gets 4 downs. And Mahomes is really difficult to stop on 3. So if you give him 4, that's a challenge. What's funny about like the Eagles and the Bills and the way that they score and the Lions is that they've been scoring on 4 downs all year. So you look at their points per game and you're like, oh, they're so much better on offense than the Chiefs. Or you look at their success rate on 3rd and you're like, wow, like all of it is a lie because the Chiefs in the regular season don't go for it on 4th. They're not a 4-down team. They're a 3rd down. They're a 3-down team. They don't get the first down on 3 downs. They kick the ball down. In the most recent playoff game against the Tech, they are a 4-down team. You didn't realize how dangerous they were this whole time.
They're playing a different game for the first 18 weeks of the NFL season. They just are. And they have the luxury to do that because they also have rings in their pocket. You know, the Bills, you're just trying to, you know how vital the number 1 seed, you're trying to get to a Super Bowl finally with this regime. You know, you talk about the Bengals, you're trying to get back to a Super Bowl. Like all this kind of, you approach the Ravens, you approach things differently because you don't have the rings in your back pocket. I think there's a huge difference with that. And that's how they go about it. But the Chiefs 1-score game, like there's a very good chance this is a 1-score game. It's a Super Bowl for crying out loud.
I'd like it to be 52-10 or whatever was that the Broncos Niners were like the Niners beat them like 50-10 or
the last time he's played, it was 38-35, right? 38-35, I think was the score when the Eagles in the Super Bowl. They played, of course, in the regular season last year and the Chiefs lost. But in the Super Bowl, 38-35.
Eagles still had a Hail Mary chance at the last whistle. Came up way short, as you remember. But they did technically have an opportunity with the ball to try to like do something. The Chiefs, the last 2 Super Bowls, the Eagles still they scored. The Chiefs scored very late in the game. The Eagles had a chance at a Hail Mary. And the other one went to overtime. So it's like, I'm not here to tell you that I don't think the game's going to be close. I'm just telling you, of those 17 straight 1-score games in which they've won, that includes the last 2 Super Bowls they've won.
Who do I trust in those spots?
That includes the last 3 AFC Championship games they won. Those 17 games aren't just like they beat the Panthers in a 1-score game late. 5 of those games over the last 17 include 3 AFC Championship games and 2 Super Bowl wins. They understand those moments. They understand that difference better than any other team in the league.
Up next, we'll get to the trash of the day, and one thing the Chiefs were able to overcome all season long, I don't know if it's been put in perspective enough. That's coming up here on Cody and Gold.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
This Saturday only at Old Navy. Get 50% off jeans for the family. Yep, new denim fits at incredible prices for one day only with 50% off jeans for the fam. Hurry in this Saturday to Old Navy. Valid 2-1. Select styles only.
Right now, get up to a $15 gift card after rebate when you purchase select Superstart batteries exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Men, the new year is here, and if you're like many of us, you're going to make a resolution to improve your health. But if you're feeling sluggish and low energy, if your sleep patterns are off, if you've been working out and aren't seeing the gains you used to see, making that resolution may not be so easy. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're feeling the way I just described, we can likely help you with that resolution, because those symptoms probably mean you're suffering with low testosterone. And at Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating this condition. With our low T protocols, if you're like most men, the change will astound you. You'll feel more energy and better mental clarity, your sleep will improve, your workouts will be better, and you'll likely find your sex drive goes up as well. So call us today and get treated for your low T. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
When you have an expert financial partner invested in you, you can't help but feel like a star. Like the new graduate opening their first investment account, the small business owner proudly adding a new location, or the young couple buying their first home. At Community America, we're invested in helping members achieve financial peace of mind with products and services tailored to each stage of life. Member owned, open to all. Community America Credit Union. Invested in you.
Buying and selling a home is stressful. You want the best team on your side, and that's my friend Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. To find the current value of your home, go to homesforsaleandkc.com. Click on the button, How much is your home really worth? Then the Sharp Homes team can give you options. If you want to skip the showings and open houses, you can do that with their instant offer program. Contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp. Google Sharp Homes team or visit them at homesforsaleandkc.com.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Business taxes. We're stressing about all the time and all the money you spent on your taxes.
This is my bill?
Now Business Taxes is a TurboTax small business expert who does your taxes for you and offers year-round advice at no additional cost, so you can keep more money in your business. Now this is taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com/business. Only available with TurboTax Live full service.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Coming up in 25 minutes or so, we're going to hear from Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, right here on your home for the Chiefs 96.5 The Fan. It's Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon. You guys can hit us up on the J Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965. So, I know week by week it's been discussed, like, hey, they're going to get this player back or this player's not available. But if you step back a little bit and think about the 18 regular season weeks and then, of course, now the postseason run, all the injuries this year's team was able to overcome. Some bigger than others, but these are all names that at the beginning of the season you thought were going to be key contributors. Jalen Watson missed half the season. We all know the impact he's had since returning just in 2 weeks. Isaiah Pacheco missed since, from week 2 to week 15-ish, something like that. Hollywood Brown missed the entire regular season until So it wasn't the entire, but
so
week
Steelers
16,
game,
week
yeah.
16, I guess. Yeah, I mean, he missed week 1 through 16.
He missed the entire year. By all accounts.
Sure.
He missed the entire
I'm
year.
doing
but
it because someone will text him like, okay, week 16. All right. Harrison Butker missed about a month.
Same with Amenihue.
Charles Amenihue
Pretty
missed
much the entire
until week 16 or whatever it was. And then Rashee Rice missed from week 4 on, after midway through week 4 on with the injury. Of course, he was the one guy that wasn't able to come back. Think about that. Everybody else came back from an injury.
It's being able to get to 15 wins and getting the number 1 seed when you lost your number 1 corner, your number 1 running back, your number 2 wide receiver, your number 1 wide receiver who still never came back, your kicker for a month, and your number 2 edge rusher, 3 if you're being a hater, I guess.
Yeah.
Pass rusher, and you're just saying, hey, I like Karlaftis better than Amenihue, whatever. Or number 2, depending how you rank it. I'm sorry. I thought we should factor in everything when deciding Coach of the Year. And I'm not trying to make it about that necessarily, but damn. Andy had to do some work. And we know that Veach was very busy as a result
think
of
about
these
the names
things
that
as well.
they brought in, Juju Smith-Schuster and Kareem Hunt, to complement some of this.
And doesn't even account, or Matthew Wright. He brought in kickers who didn't miss the entire time he was gone. This doesn't even factor in the fact that the entire season they were trying to figure out who was going to play left tackle for this team the entire year, separate from the rest of the injury stuff. This is a truly great accomplishment. Being able to do this is why, if you're Philadelphia or when you were Buffalo in that game, you could have no confidence that anything you saw in week 4, 5, 12, 14 is anything close to what this team may or may not do now, because they're fundamentally just not the same team. They're just not. You're way different if these are the players you missed for 90% of the year.
Yeah, the great thing and the reason why it's been perfect through the playoffs is they're as healthy as you can be now. You know, there's a lot of these injuries you happen, and fortunately, they all happen early in the year. You know, that will be the one thing I think when you look back. These injuries, they did not happen in week 15, and you're like, you're done for the season. That's what they were able to. These injuries, you never want to see it happen. But Jalen Watson got hurt very early on in the season. Pacheco got hurt week 2 of the season. Hollywood Brown was preseason, but he got healthy enough to the point where he's able to play at the tail end of the regular season to now he's full go for the playoff run. All these guys were able to get back when it mattered most. That's unique too. That just doesn't normally happen. Like if I told you your team's losing the RB1 and wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2, like most of the time they're just not coming back.
Yeah, normally they have injuries.
That's part of this too. Now,
they got hurt early.
In a week-by-week basis, they had to overcome it. You know, they went out and acquired DeAndre Hopkins and Juju Smith-Schuster and Kareem Hunt. You mentioned the kickers. Like that's what's really impressive about it. And now this left tackle situation, somewhat self-created, right, by not having the right answer.
They didn't draft the right guy. Maybe
they were able to. They went to Plan D. I would argue they're on Plan D now.
Plan A was Kingsley. Plan B was Wanye.
Humphreys was
Plan 3. Yeah, C. Whatever.
So I guess we're on. If I got my D. I guess it is D.
Whatever you want to do. Number or letters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's probably right. Plan D. Honest to God, I'm not sure it's not Plan E, that they weren't trying to find some other dude to play left tackle at some point later this year. What stands out to me is how you function as a team without those players. So, for part of the year, it's like, well, how do you function as a team on defense without Charles Amenihue? They had pass rush issues. For a decent chunk of the year, they had pass rush issues. They finished with the same number as 2 less sacks than Philadelphia this year without Amenihue for the entire season. He didn't come back till they were facing the Steelers and they had locked up the number 1 seed. That's how long Amenihue was out for. Jalen Watson, we obviously saw the difference there when he was gone for 6 weeks and what they had to overcome defensively. Now, look, they stacked up some wins when Jalen Watson was there. Their secondary was partly how they led their defense during that time. And I think we've come to learn now that Kareem has done an admirable job. But if Pacheco was just healthy the entire year, I also think his season goes different. Genuinely impressed. I also think it probably tells you a lot about how good this team is. Not just because they're in the Super Bowl, not because they have Patrick Mahomes. I think sometimes there's this notion to dismiss the Chiefs as, oh, they're a good team, but the reason why they're in the Super Bowl again is just because Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. No, let me be very clear. This is a great team because they have so much talent on their team. They were able to go 15-1 with a combined missed games, and we should add it up. When we talk about this later, how many combined missed games do you think they had between that group? They had 13 from Rashee Rice, 14 from Hollywood Brown, 14 from Charles Amenihue, 4 to 6, I think, from Butker. Not to mention Pacheco and Watson. They might have missed a combined 50 games from either guys who were number 1 on their depth chart or number 2 on their depth chart this year. And they still won 15 games while all those guys were gone. And now 95% of them are together for the Super Bowl. The only guy, as you mentioned, missing was Rashee Rice. I did have somebody yesterday be like, hey, what's the percentage chance Rashee Rice? None. 0. 0%. He ain't coming back. And I respect it. You're just like, hoping, please. He's not coming back. Rashee Rice is missing the year. He might miss early time next year, either through suspension or through this.
I think I think from a health perspective, he'll be good to go for week 1. It's the suspension that we won't know about.
I can't believe that's going to hang over the head. The NFL should not go entire full seasons deciding on suspensions. I know they wait for the legal process, and so that's kind of on your lawyers too, but it's kind of crazy.
I mean, I just would assume they suspend him right out of the gate, but maybe not.
I mean, I think so. This is the same thing as last year. There's a cutoff date before I'm like, you're not allowed to suspend him anymore.
Mid-August, please. Let us know by mid-August.
Do we know when that's supposed to get wrapped up anyways? Like, are they going to...
Yeah,
he doesn't even have a court date the last I heard. I don't know.
Are they going to be done?
Yeah, that's fair. It could
got good lawyers. It takes
could
longer.
end up dragging out even further. So maybe they don't have a resolution by then. At this point, I think you would rather just wrap this thing up in the offseason and that way and just get it over with beginning of next year, knowing now what you have in Worthy and everything else. We're just talking from a football perspective.
If I were the Chiefs, I'd want them to get it wrapped up before the draft. Know that maybe they're suspending you, and then I could know what the hell I'm in for before the season even starts.
Yeah, I don't know, though.
But it's an impressive
I'll say
stance.
that as far as the Rice timeline, if I told you he was out for 6 games, I don't think I have to draft differently. I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, unless you think he's out for a year or there's a much other incident or something. Like if he's out for 6 weeks next year, I'm not drafting a wide receiver just because he's out for 6 weeks. That's different than like when they thought a couple years ago they were losing their wide receiver for for good, like the whole Tyreek Hill thing or whatever. Like way back whenever that was.
And they should be looking at wide receivers anyway, as we've discussed. I will say this list also does give me the like. Hey, credit to the guys who stayed on the field that helped them still win. Joe Thuney, in my opinion, should win team MVP this year. Like when they hand out that award, give Joe Thuney the damn prize. I know this is a big Binkley conversation. Binkley loves a good team award, loves a good Rookie of the Year award. I know that I'm coming off a bit like I'm stealing your thunder a little bit.
Do you think they should rename it the Joe Thuney Award?
I do not think they should rename it.
No, okay.
But just to be clear, when they go hand team MVP to someone this year, give Joe Thuney his flowers. That man had to hold down the fort. Because that's what you're asking. Who had to do the job when they were gone? Well, Joe Thuney had to hold down the fort for the whole offensive line and they didn't even have injuries. They just had trouble. Then I would say Xavier Worthy carried the most weight, as in he did the job. He had to pick up the slack.
Xavier
for the
Worthy will win
players.
the Mackley Hill Rookie of the Year award, which
Did you
hopefully
have to look that up?
Hopefully it hasn't been. I was make sure I had my Derek Thomas is the MVP award. Derek Thomas award. Yeah. That one you're good with keeping that name.
Yeah, that's not even that old.
Just checking.
You're saying
but 50 years from now it'll be
50 years from now it should be the Patrick Mahomes or whatever. I don't know.
You're saying Joe Thuney is the real MVP. If he doesn't win it, he's the real MVP in this conversation.
I think for this season, yeah. It's a season award. You can give it to Patrick Mahomes every year if you want. It's fine. We understand this, how this works with league MVP or anything else. I'm just saying he has done a lot.
No, I mean, I agree with you. I'm just giving you a hard time about the name of the award. But I think there's a strong point to be made there. Again, we're going to hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes here in around 20 minutes, just under 20 minutes or so. Before we get to the Chiefs Red Half Hour, let's get a little trash of the day.
Trash of the day.
Going down to Sweet Home, Alabama for this one, huh? A family had a newborn child. Congratulations to them, but it's where they had the
Mazel
child,
tov.
which is, that's right, there you go. So a family was offered free donuts for a year. And like, what's going on here?
Excuse
Why?
me?
Yeah, so they were heading to the hospital already with their 5-year-old son when she started feeling contractions, and there was heavy snow that day in, I think, Dothan is how it's pronounced, Alabama. Dothan, I don't know.
Never been.
Yeah, never been.
True?
She realized
Dothan,
about
Alabama?
a mile from the hospital that she wasn't going to make it. They're a mile away, but she's like, I'm not making it, okay? And the baby's not waiting. So they pull over into a Krispy Kreme Donuts parking lot.
Oh, no.
And the donut shop had closed due to the weather, too. I mean, this is how bad the storm was.
So they're
apparently.
just in an empty parking lot.
The couple's baby was born before emergency responders showed up on the scene. And because of this, the story went viral. Those in Alabama encouraged the couple to have their son middle name Glaze. Okay, they did not do that.
You can't give your kid the middle name Glaze.
The son was named Dallas Mitchell. I don't know about the middle name, but they wanted Dallas Glaze Mitchell. Anyway, the manager of the Krispy Kreme said the family will receive free donuts for a year and offered to host Dallas's first birthday party at the location.
First, absolutely do the birthday party at the thing. Problem is, for a 1-year-old, he is not going to get the benefit of any of these donuts. You got to do donuts for life or until they're 18 or like till they're 10. Free donuts for 10 years. All you got to do is give them like a half dozen glazed once a week.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like it's no sweat off your back. I think they kind of cheaped out on the only for 1 year thing. Is this your obviously as someone who doesn't have to give birth, I feel like that would have to be like every woman's nightmare. Is the idea that you got to pull, you can't even make it to the hospital. Neither of ours were stressful in that way, right? Like, one was breached, and so, like, they both had to be C-section. So, like, for this case, it was like, we had a doctor's appointment. We'll see you at 7 a.m. on this day, and we just, like, went in. Like, there wasn't, like...
That's the ideal scenario, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't, like... But, like, for most people, it's like you're just waiting until you go into labor, and then you're hoping you obviously make it to the hospital.
Yeah. Someone said, why is this trash of the day? This is a fun thing. Yeah, but we do fun stories. And trash of the day is basically, like, weird story, right? That's essentially what it is.
Sometimes it's idiots.
And this one is, it's pretty fun. This one, everybody's healthy and it's funny, but just the fact that it was a Krispy Kreme parking lot, and they're doing donuts for a year is pretty fun.
I will say, somebody said on yesterday's Trash of the Day, did you look this up? Yesterday's Trash of the Day is the water tower fell in Independence and it smashed a poor guy's car. Someone was claiming yesterday that the man was asked to move his car multiple times before the water tower crushed it. If that's true, do you think it's do you think that guy should feel bad that his car got crushed anymore?
No, they warned you, pal. They warned you.
So you're saying if they're like, hey, move your car, and you're like, I don't feel like
it. Did fall the wrong way, though, right? I mean, it's still. I mean,
yes, it still fell the wrong way.
Why
but if they said, hey, man, do you mind moving your car?
You should.
And they're getting ready
yes.
to take down a giant pile of rust, I'd probably move my car.
Yeah, you should.
Someone says, Cody has never has to give birth, but he used to work as a midwife.
No.
Is that another one of your jobs?
None of my jobs. I will say, there was one of the 7 of us were born via home birth. It was my brother, Jairus. He was born at home. They decided they wanted to do that. They're like, we want a midwife, and we're going to do this thing at home. And then the whole thing, and my mom always described it as, so the midwife was there, right? The doula or whatever. She's just like asleep in the corner the whole time. She's like, I showed you what to do. She's just like kicking it. Like not doing, like, I mean, she just like.
What?
She was there, but she's like taking a nap, right? It's like, hey, you wanted this thing, so you're in. Turns out after that, my parents went to the hospital for the next 3 kids. They're like, that was fun.
That would make me so
nervous.
That would make me so nervous.
Yeah, I'm not choosing that.
Yeah.
If things happen, things happen.
Sure.
But who the hell's choosing to have their kid at home? No, thank you.
Everybody has their own reasons, I'm sure, right? And all I know is
the
based on everything I've heard,
still.
I know some people have like a personal belief not to do this, but I'll tell you, if I was in that same boat, epidural all day.
Like if it's you?
I don't know how. I mean, for
I'm
those,
too weak.
Oh yeah, just
give me the pain meds, all of them.
Let's just go with that. I don't know how anybody could possibly have done that. Here, everything you hear, props to the women out there that have given birth. My goodness, that's
way tougher than us.
Yeah, no doubt. Facts. Have you seen the videos of like they'll I don't know why they do it, but you've seen the funny videos where there's like a device they can simulate what contractions and stuff feel like. Have you seen this on YouTube or TikTok? Like it's a device they'll put on like they'll to prove a point. Basically, they can put it on like they would put it on your stomach, Cody. Okay, and it's supposed to simulate the pain. And it's like in the videos of these, like 5 seconds into it, are just
they're to their knees.
Yeah. It's like, whew.
Yeah. I mean,
someone says, what about Super Bowl babies? I'm sure there'll be some story in Kansas City or somewhere where somebody will name their kid Patrick because their baby was born as the Chiefs were driving for a touchdown.
Ben Zobrist's kid's middle name is Royal because the kid was born like after he'd won a World Series of the Royals. That kid's name was not Glaze, but instead Blaze.
Thankfully.
Close those. They rhyme.
Glaze.
Alex Glaze Gold. No. Cody Glaze Tap.
You can't even take money to like if they gave you $10 million, but you had to change your middle name to Glaze, you'd probably take the $10 million.
Yeah, of course. Right
$10 million.
But you can't do it to your kid for the rest of your life too. You are Alexander Glaze Gold. For the
I
rest
think
of
middle
your
name
life.
is not a big deal. Nobody. I mean, some people, I should say nobody. Most people don't reference
We
or go
discussed
by
my
their
middle name
yeah.
on the show.
Like,
Most people don't.
Do you even know mine? Like, I don't think we even. When would we have ever talked about
we've done
it?
this show for.
My point being is we don't know.
You only know mine because it's weird, right? Or
Yeah,
like
we talk about
uncommon.
Bancroft. Yeah.
Makes me sound regal. Do I know your middle name?
You even know the initial? My point. This is my
What's
point.
the initial?
J. The letter J.
Jonathan? I don't have any idea.
Yeah.
James?
What is it?
Oh,
Joseph.
Joseph.
So like.
Very biblical.
I know, very.
Alexander
I know,
Joseph.
Yeah,
That
very much
is like,
so. Yeah.
I feel like I should be like trekking across to deliver myrrh. I was trying to think of myrrh. Frankincense and myrrh.
There you go.
But yeah, it's just, yeah, but I'm saying, like, so yeah, if you told me right now, $10 million, change the middle name, who would say no?
Yeah, $10 million, I think was too much.
I have to be Cody Glaze.
$100,000, it's done. 50 grand, it's done.
50 grand, you're changing your legal middle name to Glaze?
Absolutely. 50 grand, you said I got Alex, as long as it's not like a curse word or something derogatory or something like, I would do it in a heartbeat.
This is the thing, though. So you could go by Alex Gold, but do you have to be one of those people that goes by Alex Glaze Gold? Like, no matter what, your middle name is always mentioned.
No, but I'd call him that sometimes if it's,
Because there are some people who go as
Someone said I
first,
should
middle,
go by-
last, and that's just what they're
They're
known
usually
as.
assassins, or
Well, yes.
we usually
but-
mention this when it comes to serial killers and assassins. Occasionally, three people,
And then a
you know,
radio host, yeah.
But it's usually like it usually goes negative when we start giving three names. That's
Someone
all.
said Alexander Graham Bell. Yeah, I mean, that's another three. We reference all three for him for whatever reason.
That's right.
For whatever
I think
reason.
sometimes it's
we
like
don't just
if
say
it
Alexander
flows.
Bell.
I think it's for some reason like like I say Bobby or Wit but like if somebody's got a fun name to say together, we
Sports
say
is different,
Vinny
too.
Pasquantino.
I feel
I
like-
don't say Vinny, I say Vinny Pasquantino because his name's fun to say together.
I think sports is unique too. Like, for whatever reason
Yeah.
in sports, just sports is what you'd call someone, obviously Griffey, junior. Like, just if you had a junior, I don't know if we would call you junior on the show. Maybe we would. I don't know.
Nobody in my family's really a junior.
There you go. That's the trash of the day. Let's get back to the Chiefs before we hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and the offensive line confidence for you guys. As we sit over a week away, 913-586-7965. Where are you at confidence-wise on the offensive line? You asked me just mid-conversation earlier, like, hey, do I think this is the most confident I've felt about the O-line all year? And other than, as you said, week one, when we thought Kingsley was going to be fine, yeah, I think this is the most confident. Now, it's a tough matchup because of the interior. Jalen Carter is a stud.
Maybe Graham comes back.
And yeah, there's news that Brandon Graham, their veteran that's been on IR for, I think, since week 12, is going to
tricep
practice. So I think he's going to end up playing. He had 3.5 sacks for them. So it's a tough matchup. Caliendo and Carter's the one that we've hit on already, and I'm sure everybody will continue to heading into next week's game. But yeah, I'm confident. I'm not worried about the tackles in this one. Like, if anything, I'm worried if we're parsing it out, it's the interior. I actually think the matchup for Joe Thuney, much like a week ago, you're not worried about this elite edge rusher.
It is harder to help in the interior, though. Like that's in my opinion. I know we always talk about tackles and them being more important. It's worse to lose on the inside. And I know that there's other NFL, I'm not the first person, this isn't groundbreaking news. But like from that, like you can't help. If you're weak on the tackle, you can hypothetically let a running back help, leave a tight end to chip. You can bring in a sixth offensive lineman and have him on the outside. Like there are things you can do in order to kind of protect yourself a little bit. If Jalen Carter's just beating Caliendo over and over and over and over and over again, it's a problem. Now I'll say, they both got beat in the Houston game. But the Eagles' defensive line is good. It is no better or worse than the Chiefs. And I'll continue to point out that I think the matchup difference in those is about the same because the Eagles have had issues too. My thing is that I'm no longer panicked about it. I think, and I do not think you were wrong for thinking this. If you'd asked me in week 10, 11, you should have had legitimate concern that Patrick Mahomes was going to get hurt, that they were going to be unable to protect him long enough to win a playoff game because of what they had at left tackle. When they finally made the switch to Thuney, I was worried. How's that going to work? He's a left guard. Should he play left tackle? Then the question was, if DJ Humphries looks good in this final game, do you go back? Should you? Yeah. Joe Thuney has finally given me enough peace of mind to know he's not screwing it up. He might lose a rep. He might lose a snap. Caliendo might lose a rep, might lose a snap. They have now had the better part of a month to not screw it up, Gold, I guess. And they've gone against really good defensive fronts, and they've been okay.
Do you think that in the Chiefs' offices, Andy Reid and Andy Heck have discussed all since the Bills game of still changing anything? Like, someone asked on the text line, do you think that they've discussed DJ Humphries playing left tackle? I say no at this point.
I don't think so. I think they stopped discussing that once the first playoff game announced.
I think that's done. They chose their path for the playoffs, and the path was Joe Thuney playing left tackle. I don't think there was any going back. I'm with you. And certainly not after how well he played. And I get the concern about Caliendo and Jalen Carter. And I hope Caliendo, by the way, uses this all as motivation too, that everybody's kind of like, oh, this is the big word. I hope Caliendo goes out there and has his best game as a pro. And he hasn't been awful. It's a really tough matchup for him. And that'll be one of the key areas. If the Eagles were to wreck things in the backfield for Mahomes and for the running game, obviously, that would be the area that would concern you the most.
How long do you think it would take for them to make a change? Because
they won't make a change, in my opinion. This is it.
So if Jalen Carter,
it's the final game. Jalen Carter,
I know, but if Jalen Carter's wrecking that, like if he is wrecking the game single-handedly, him and Jordan Davis, they're not going to make a move to bring in DJ and move Thuney over?
Because we're also like, and I get it's hypothetical, like there's no matter how dominant you are, there's no way it's not like 5 straight plays Jalen Carter is just getting in the backfield. You know what I mean? Like wrecking a game, we're all using it relatively speaking. Like
that's rare that Aaron Donald comes in and does that.
If Jalen Carter's the reason that 3 drives in a row end for the Chiefs without points.
Yeah, they'll just make other adjustments, not move them. It's a fair point in question, Drew. I just
wonder if it would get so bad
decision.
that they would be like, in order to win this game, we have to make a move.
No, I don't think so.
I am not looking forward to the future. The future of the Chiefs' offensive line is far from settled. The only thing they got settled is center. Joe Thuney's got like a year left on his deal, and he's 32 years old. Trey Smith is a pending free agent. Jawan Taylor's got a year left on his after this one, probably. They got no one at left. It's like, I mean, get to work, Brett. Because the offensive line's going to have some stuff, but that's fine.
How do you not have confidence, though, at this point, that they'll figure it out? Like, I mean, he's earned that at this point. The front office and Brett Veach have earned that. Like, they'll figure it out one way or the other because that's all they've done. I mean, they might have 3 rings in a row to show for it here in 2 weeks. So, yeah, it'll be the huge offseason conversation about left tackle and everything, Joe Thuney's future, Trey Smith's future, and the interior and all that. But whatever that plan is, like, even if it's not viewed as the best plan, I think there's enough of a track record to understand like there's a real reason behind it. Doesn't mean they don't whiff on players. We've acknowledged that with first round pick in FAU and Kingsley in the second round right now. Now, if they turn Kingsley into a 3+ year starter at guard as the second round pick,
I'll live.
Then that can work. It can. But it requires them still going out and finding another solution at left tackle. And I still believe, if you're asking me like right now what they would have to do, I still think they need to go the same path as they did with Orlando Brown Jr. Not signing Orlando Brown Jr., but going and trading for someone that's in their rookie deal, has a year left, something like that you bring in next year to start at left tackle with the thought that then you sign them long term if it all goes well.
I think it's probably fair. I asked the question, I think it was like week 10, I don't know. And I still stand by that. Do you think Kingsley Suamataia ever plays one more start at left tackle for the Chiefs?
No.
My answer is also no.
True?
Yeah, I would agree with you guys, no.
But it's like, but you're right. He can still play guard. I'll live my life. And they might have a right guard opening here with Trey Smith, certainly possible. And in a year, right tackle. And he was young and raw, and there's still the possibility of growth just like any other player. So I don't rule out the possibility, but like you're going to make me guess right now.
I think Wanya Morris is the swing tackle now. Look for the next couple of years for this team. That's what his role will be. Kingsley, I think we've already seen with the way they've done the inactives and actives here the last couple of weeks. I think they view Kingsley as a potential guard here pretty soon. Someone says if Jalen Carter had 3 first-half sacks, I would do it. But again, I can give you the most extreme scenario too. Like when have the Chiefs had one player get 3 sacks? Even as bad as the left tackle play was early on, they didn't give up 3 sacks to the same player in the first half, right? No. Like as much as Trey Hendrickson looked great. What's the player for the Broncos? Benito.
Oh, Benito. Nick Benito.
He didn't have 3 first-half sacks. Like so, yes, you're right. If Jalen Carter literally every single play was coming through the line of scrimmage, I think they would also just get extra help and
I think he'd be rolling out every play before they did that. Mm-hmm. That's my guess.
Yeah. Up next, we're going to hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes as they get set for the Super Bowl right here, 96.5 The Fan.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
MD Anderson Cancer Center is again ranked #1 in the nation for cancer care by U.S. News & World Report's Best Hospitals rankings. Our physicians treat more types of cancers in a day than many see in their whole career. This unmatched depth of expertise, combined with our groundbreaking discoveries, gives our patients access to the most innovative treatment options. Learn more at mdanderson.org.
Attention car shoppers, Kevin Harlan here with Rob Seid of Rob Seid Ford in South Kansas City. Hey Rob, what's going on?
We are making 2025 the best year in Rob Seid Ford history, and we are doing it with 4 simple steps.
Simple is what I love most about Rob Seid Ford. So Rob, what's the plan?
It starts with Rob Seid Ford's non-commissioned sales staff, Kansas City's lowest prices on brand new Fords, the best trade-in values, the biggest selection we've ever had. With those 4 steps, it is my personal mission to make Rob Seid Ford the easiest, most value-driven Ford dealership in Kansas City. No BS.
That's why Rob Seid Ford is the only dealership I'll send my friends and family to. But you're forgetting one thing.
What's that?
Rob Seid Ford is Kansas City's top-rated Google Ford dealership.
Good call. Can't forget about that. Check out Rob Seid Ford in South Kansas City at 135th and State Line, ROBSIGHT.com.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stinks that just will never come out. Boy, Downy in the rinse change. Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash, it smells so clean. Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Fights odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
Rally House.
Shop every team in town.
College
and pro.
Come on, it's time to go.
We're New Orleans bound, KC. Shop the largest selection of Chiefs, AFC champions, and Super Bowl gear at Rally House. New postseason styles arriving daily.
Kansas, Missouri, Kansas State. Chiefs and Royals make KC great.
Rally House.
Rally House.
It's your city, it's your house. It's the Rally House.
Limited quantity. Selection varies by location. Shop rallyhouse.com.
Ad paid for by RFA cancellation. Attention timeshare owners. If you need to get rid of your timeshare for any reason, please listen to the following message. Getting out of a timeshare commitment is not easy, and it takes time. But we specialize in helping consumers legally get rid of their expensive timeshares forever. Can't get the vacation dates that work for you? Maybe you felt taken advantage of or forced into the timeshare? Maybe you just can't continue to shoulder those monthly payments any longer. If you need to eliminate your timeshare commitment, then you need to take down this number, 800-790-9617. We will safely and legally get rid of your timeshare payments forever, all with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't continue to let your timeshare be a financial burden to you and your loved ones. Call us now at 800-790-9617. The call is free. The consultation is free. Call 800-790-9617. That's 800-790-9617. Again, 800-790-9617.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you've got an oil change coming up. We can help you save on the right oil for your vehicle. Right now, get 5 quarts of Castrol Edge Full Synthetic or Castrol Edge Full Synthetic High Mileage Motor Oil with an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for just $35.99. Visit one of our 6,000 stores or order from AutoZone.com for same-day store pickup or next-day delivery.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Big game coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by Community America Credit Union. Member owned, open to all, invested in you. Join today at communityamerica.com.
Congratulations, Kansas City. The Chiefs are headed to Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
We're expected to hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes in the next couple of minutes right here during the Chiefs Red Half Hour. It's Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Our big game coverage brought to you by Community America Credit Union, member-owned, open to all, invested in you. Join today at communityamerica.com. We're also, a little bit later on today, going to have Danan Hughes join us in the 1 o'clock hour, right around 1:05 or so, former Chiefs wide receiver, going back to a Super Bowl again. We'll get his perspective on not only the historical nature of where this football team and organization is, but what he's seen from Philadelphia. I think it's pretty fair to say that the Eagles' receiver room, just because of experience, is better positioned than it was 2 years ago when they played. A.J. Brown's just a more experienced player. Devonta Smith's a more experienced player. Now, their quarterback, I don't think Jalen Hurts is playing as well as he was 2 years ago. That's the difference. Wide receivers, I think, are scarier today than they were a couple years ago, but the passing game and their quarterback hasn't been playing as well.
Yeah, it is. It's funny about that because, like you said, on paper, the weapon should be better. They're also just passing way less.
Yeah, what was the number? You said like 100 and something less
180
attempts?
less attempts for Jalen Hurts. And 2 less games. So, like, okay, fine. It's probably more like 130 less attempts, but that's not nothing. 130 less attempts is suggesting that you're passing the ball 5 to 7 times less per game over the course of a season. And look, some of that is because I got Saquon Barkley. I get it. I probably run the ball less too. But I am always leery of any team in a Super Bowl in which your best player is not your quarterback. Like, I don't care. And I'm not saying that Joe Flacco and Trent Dilfer and some of these guys have never won Super Bowls and then it never occurs. But, I'm always leery of it.
All right, let's hear from Andy Reid. He's speaking live right now on 96.5 The Fan.
No injuries to give you here. Look forward to the challenge of playing the Eagles. Heck of a football team. Very well run from ownership on down through. Nick's done a heck of a job there with the football team. Howie Roseman bringing the players in that they have, and they're very talented. And so well coached and very talented. Anyways, with that, time's yours.
Andy, you faced this team back-to-back years, one of the Super Bowl and one of the regular season, but with the addition of Saquon Barkley, just how much can you tell that has improved that team's offensive and the way they go?
Yeah, sure. He's a great player. A potential future Hall of Famer. He was tremendous at New York, and he had a great year this year with the Eagles. So he's helped them. Especially the rush game. But he can catch the ball. They've got a quarterback that can throw the ball and 2 wide receivers out there that are tremendous, and a couple tight ends too. So they're fully loaded on the offensive side. But to answer your question, he's been a great addition for him.
Andy, with your love of the history of the game, I don't recall whether did you watch Super Bowl IV when it happened as a kid?
Yep.
Do you remember?
Nope. I remember. Yeah, I watched all of them.
Well, that goes back even before your pump pass and kick episode, I guess. So.
Yeah. That was. Yeah.
Would you ever consent to being mic'd up during a game, like Hank Stram was?
Yeah, I'm not big on that. But.
Have you ever run 65 toss power trap?
We did last week. Yeah, we ran it last week. Yeah. One that Pacheco caught, tried to score. We didn't quite score, though. Wasn't as good as the one they ran.
You've done the Super Bowl in New Orleans before. What do you remember about that? 97 game?
Yeah. It's a great city. And the hospitality was unreal back then, as I'm sure it will be now. They know how to put on a show. And but as coaches and players, you don't get into too much of that. So, but it's a great city. For the fans, I think it's great. Yeah.
Your head coach at that time is a finalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. In what ways did he influence you as a head coach?
Yeah, Mike Holmgren. I felt like when I worked for him, nobody did it better. I still feel that way after being a head coach for all these years. He's a tremendous teacher. I mean, great teacher. So took a ton from him in all areas. How he dealt with players and also the football part. He's got a great mind.
Coach, obviously you can't win without great players, but you've had great success in your 60s. Bill Belichick did. Is that kind of becoming the new sweet spot for coaches? And if so, why is it, you kind of settle in and are as good as you can be, it seems, at that age in the NFL?
Yeah, I think they put something in the Geritol. I don't know. It's probably the experience, I guess, if you had to, and then you got good players, which helps, and good coaches, so good organization. We were fortunate to have all of those things, if there's something in common, with that. But
is patience one of them? Do you find that,
Yeah, I think you're probably more patient. You've seen a lot to get to that point. And so I know I'm more patient than when I was a younger head coach.
You're up for one of the finalists for AP Coach of the Year. You won it a couple of decades ago. It's a weird award. Sometimes there's two they don't expect much for. I know you don't care probably if you win this thing, but I think it would be still an honor to be to this point of it with everything you guys have gone through this year that's been recognized by folks.
Yeah, listen, I think it's great for everybody involved. Everybody's got a piece of that. So if that happens, it's great. But I look at those more as really a team honor because it's not a one-man show. So you're really saying that your coaches did good, your players have done well, the organization's done well. I mean, if it happens, it happens. I wasn't even sure that was going on, but you could have just made that up.
Coach, when you ran 65 toss power trap last week, was that the first time? And is that also what it's called in your playbook too?
Yeah, that's what we call it. So it's a tribute to the old guys. Yeah.
Had you run that before? Or was that
No, that was the first time. Yeah.
A lot has been said about Patrick's locked-innedness in the postseason. Have you seen that evolve over the years that you've worked with him, or has he always been able to maintain just that consistent focus?
He's been good with that. I'd say that's been a consistency. You can really see as the season builds up, he's even more focused and more focused. And you get to this time of the year, he's really locked in. Yeah.
I'm curious if you've heard any of the reactions this week calling him, Michael Jordan, right? What do you make of those kinds of comparisons?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything. I've tried not to listen to anything. I had to do my media things, but I don't tune in during the season at all.
Andy, on that,
yeah.
On that, just this continued issue of you guys maybe getting a friendly whistle, taking away from the actual accomplishments on the field. You've probably been asked that before, but just to react to that.
The what?
The allegations of getting a friendly whistle. There's a change.org petition out there to look at the officiating as regards to the Chiefs. I mean, I know you've heard about it. But.
Yeah, whatever. I think they balance, everything balances out. I mean, you got a human element there with the officials. These guys are trying to do the best job they possibly can out there, and they take a lot of heat one way or the other, and coaches take a lot of heat one way or the other. So I don't pay much attention to it. Coaches,
do you use that as motivation? Is that something you're settling into that point where everybody's kind of, you're not the new guys on the block winning. Now people are kind of tired of you winning. Is that?
Yeah, I don't care.
Fuel that?
I honestly, I don't get into that. I don't use that with the guys. I mean, I just want to make sure we get prepped, and as coaches, our responsibility is to give them everything we can give them.
You're listening to Andy Reid here on KFNZ FM and AM HD1, HD2 Kansas City and Odyssey Station.
To help them with that, and then for them to focus in on learning it and keep themselves physically fit and mentally fit to go play. I mean, there's enough to do just with that, where you don't even have to pay attention to the other stuff.
Coach, one on your plans for this week. Joe Tooney's been so good out at left tackle, but DJ's still in here. Is there any temptation to push Joe back in and go with Humphreys, or will you be sticking to what you've been doing?
Yeah, it'll probably be the same. I mean, we'll rotate them all in there, but I think probably end up being the same when it's all said and done.
Nate, let's go, Nate. We'll go across for a minute. Go, Nate.
Two things, Andy. What is it about Spags' blitz package that that you find most compelling?
Yeah, so he doesn't do it every down. Sometimes you have this stigma of being a blitz guy, and it's when he does it, and then how he knows the protections or the run scheme, for the run blitzes, how he understands the scheme and when to go ahead about using it. So I think that's what makes him so unique and why they're successful. You can blitz. They know the blitz is coming. They pick it up, and it's one of those deals. You call it, the offensive guy calls the right play for that time. Well, his objective is to find when that's not happening.
Off the field, because you are going back to New Orleans, mind sharing your favorite meal in New Orleans?
Yeah, man, I'll tell you, there is one. Emeralds. Not that I turned any of them down, but when I was with the Eagles, the chef there, the head chef, tremendous chef, he was a huge Eagles fan. So he invited me over, and he said, I'm going to start at the ocean and finish in the mountains. He put me in the kitchen, and he said, have at it. So he says, I'll stop when you're full. So 4 hours later, we were done.
You worry he's going to poison your food this week then?
I probably won't go there.
Dave?
Andy, I was wondering if you could sort of reconcile the Brett Beach that used to run out and get you hamburgers as an intern in Philadelphia with the Brett Beach that goes out and gets you players now. And did you ever foresee this happening in his career way back then?
Yeah, I thought, listen, you could see right from the get-go his energy and how smart he was, and and then his passion for the player side of it. So those guys that came in, I gave them the opportunity to either go personnel or go to the football side. And he was so passionate about the personnel side and just digging in with it and finding guys. And you look at Deshaun Jackson and McCoy and Cox, all those guys. He's throwing those guys on my desk, saying, you got to get these guys. So he just had an eye and a knack for it, and that hasn't changed. Yeah.
We'll do last three, Rob, Sam, and Vahe. Go ahead, Rob.
Coach Reed, your advice to the rookies and the players experiencing the circus of opening night for the first time?
Yeah, what's kind of neat about that is you get people from all over the world that show up. Now, some of the questions are a little bizarre. So our Brad G talks to them just about how you handle those. That's important. It might be a joke for them, but what you say is what you say. So you got to be careful how you present it and present yourself. So for the rookies, that's all new. The veteran guys kind of know that, but the rookies, it's kind of a wild event.
Sam?
Andy, I'm sure the players are hyper aware that there's so many people watching this game. You guys have played in big games before, but I'm sure nerves can still be a part of the equation. What's the key sort of early in a game of this magnitude?
Yeah, I think first of all, it's preparation before you get there. You've got to, you got to make sure that you have everything going. Your juices are going to be flowing, so you've got to make sure you get in there and prep, and so you're not thinking about things while your juices are going, as much as you're just going out and playing. But yeah, no, you get excited. Yeah, it's an exciting game, but you don't want to hide that either. So and then you just kind of settle down as you go through.
Go ahead.
Andy, I know you've got the nice relationship with Bill Belichick, and you just did the podcast with him. Did he, when you won number 300, did he specifically reach out to you and congratulate you for that?
I believe he did. Yeah, yeah. He's he's a good friend. So he's great with all that stuff. He's the guy. This is all old hat for him. So have a ton of respect for him as a coach. So, but he's also a friend. Yeah.
So not like welcome to 300 or anything like that?
No, he's never going to really reach the real 300. There's a lot of cheeseburgers that went into that 300.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
All right, so that was Andy Reid here on 96.5 The Fan. We're supposed to hear from Mahomes in a second as well. Just for some housekeeping stuff, if you didn't catch it at the beginning, he said he does plan to stick with Joe Thuney at left tackle.
Obviously.
Caliendo will be the starter left guard. I think, yeah, very obvious at this point. Also said the 5 players that were listed on their estimated injury report yesterday, since they didn't technically have a practice or anything like that, they all would have been full participants, and that everybody's practicing today.
It's the healthiest they've been at any point this year.
Yep.
They're still down players like anyone, but I mean, yeah, it's once again the healthiest they've been. Andy seems like he's in a good mood. Jovial, talking cheeseburgers and poisoning at restaurants, the whole thing, you know? Really covering the gambit. I bet, by the way, if we made like a Super Bowl bingo at this point, would get played every year in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Him mentioning a cheeseburger would be like the free square?
Probably so. Yeah, or just asking comparisons to Michael Jordan and Mahomes and stuff like that. All right, thinking of Mahomes, let's go out there right now and hear from him.
Thinking of Chiefs, whatever. What do you how do you feel about having everyone out to get you guys?
I try not to listen to it too much. I think more than anything, I just try to embrace who we have in this locker room and the personalities and how we enjoy playing football. And I believe if we play football the right way and we compete and go out there and play our best football, that I'll always have my guys' backs. And so we got a lot of good dudes in this locker room, and all we're going to do is compete and try to win football games.
When it comes to names like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Derek Jeter, ones that are synonymous with the words 3P, and your name and the Kansas City Chiefs organization could be involved with that, how much is that just a motivating factor to win this game even more, just to be on the line of legends that those names are?
Yeah, I mean, I think you always want to leave a legacy and kind of make your imprint on history. But more than anything, you just want to accomplish a goal that you have with your teammates. And when you start at St. Joe, your goal is to win the Super Bowl. We know it's a hard process. We know it's a hard week in and week out. But I'm proud of how our guys have kind of went about that process. And we know it's not going to be easy. This team we're playing is a really good football team. But we're going to go out there and put our best effort out there and play as a team, and hopefully that's enough to get a win.
And how much have you admired those athletes like Kobe and Michael, and how much they've influenced you in your career?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think more than anything is you see the competitors that they are, is that they're going to do whatever it takes to win. And that's what you have to be in order to have success in professional sports, is a competitor, someone that's going to put in the work every single week. And watching them and listening to the things that when they talk about, that's helped shape my career on how I have to work. And obviously, that's a long way, I feel like, still for me to go to be mentioned with those guys, but I'll try to do whatever I can to be close enough as I can be.
Patrick, you've talked before about how every year is different and the journey's different. Is there something that stands out about this year's journey to this point, understanding you still have one game left?
Yeah, I think just, to me, this team's been special because it's been everybody. I mean, if you look at our entire season, it's like someone that makes a big play at the biggest moment to go out there and win a football game, if that's offense, defense, or special teams. And so I think the fact that it's been everybody, it's not just offense, it's not just defense, it's everybody on the entire team is something I'll remember this season by, and hopefully we can do it the right way and get this final win.
Film's caught last year, you talking with Chris Jones, I'm sure you've seen the clip of just immediately thinking about the third. And I guess as you think back to that, why do you think it was so fast for you that you wanted this one in particular?
I don't know if it was just this one in particular. It's just when you're on that stage and you're celebrating, you start thinking about the guys that are coming back. You think about how young that football team was last year, and you knew that we had a chance to be in this position. And even though you're winning, you're enjoying that moment, you enjoy it, but at the same time, you have a bigger picture of your entire career. And I want to have as many chances as I can to be in the Super Bowl. And it's cool to have guys like Chris and Trav that I've kind of spent my entire career with and won all these games with. And there's a few others with James, Winchester, and Harrison. And I'm probably forgetting someone here or there, but it's cool to have these guys. We built such a great friendship and almost become a family, and I think that's really cool.
Patrick, when you look at your Super Bowl success, the way that you won, a lot of fourth quarter success, and obviously last year even overtime, is there a point of emphasis to, I mean, you always want to start fast, is that something that has popped in your mind at all?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, not just start fast, but just be consistent throughout the game. I think there's been games we started fast and we have lulls, but you have to be able to deal with adversity, and whenever you have those moments, just being able to respond. And so we've played a lot of good teams in the Super Bowls, a lot of good defenses, and we've done a good job of kind of figuring out. But if we can start fast, obviously it would help out and make it to where we don't have to necessarily have a fourth quarter comeback every time. But however you find a way to win, you find a way to get a win.
Andy mentioned the fact that you guys ran the 65 toss power trap last week. I wondered what it was like calling that in the huddle and what the appreciation you have for the history of that play too.
Yeah, for sure. I wish I would have scored. It got close, yeah, the history of that play, the history of this organization, it runs through this entire team. I mean, just like last week, getting that Lamar Hunt trophy back at home, I mean, it's special for us. And that's one of our goals is to get that trophy and to win it at Arrowhead. It's a special moment. And so being able to run that play, one that I've watched and one that we have a room named after, next time we'll just try to find a way to get it in the end zone.
That play happened like 25 years before you were born. So what do you know? What do you know about it?
Well, it's. I think what's cool about this organization. I know what's cool about this organization is that we always go back and look at the history of it. And if you look at Hank Stram and Lynn Dawson and all the Hall of Famers, I think it's like 6 or 7 Hall of Famers on that football team. We go and we have museums and we learn. And I talk to other guys and other quarterbacks whenever they come in our room, like Carson or Chris or whoever that is, about the history of the Chiefs. And so I think that's the cool thing about the NFL is that you can look back at these special moments in organizations and really what defines organizations. And so that was a huge moment for this organization.
What makes you guys aware of those things? Is it Andy? Is it Beach? Is it Donovan? Is it somebody else?
It starts with Clark. I mean, we talk about it before every single training camp. Then it goes down through the line, and I mean, when you're with Coach Reed, you hear the best stories of all time. So I meet with him every single Friday, and we talk about the game plan. But that becomes kind of like a story time where I hear these stories about the great. I hear these stories about the great untold stories of the history of the NFL, and one day he's going to have to write a book because there's some great ones in there.
You just mentioned Clark. I mean, there are other owners that are much more in the limelight and in present, and we don't see a lot of him there. What is he like as an owner? When you mentioned Carson coming in, guys that have played for other teams, is that something that even permeates?
Naturally 10. You're listening to Patrick Mahomes here on your home for the Chiefs, 96.5 The Fan.
Clark does a great job of being there and showing his support and showing that he is invested, and you can tell he loves it, and not only for his family but for all of us. And then at the same time, letting Coach Reed help run the organization, the football side of it. But he has a huge impact on this organization, the way that he comes to work every single day, and he's there and he's always there. I mean, it is really cool to see, and Texas guy, so all the best are from Texas.
We'll go 4 more. Go ahead, Vahe, Nate, and then we go there.
You've spoken before and even now about your pretty direct motivation with things like the 3-peat and things like that. It doesn't seem like Andy talks that way or thinks that way, that he's always kind of in the moment. I wonder if you ever heard him talk about that kind of goal, or is he always just on the next? And what do you think drives him then?
I think what drives Coach Reed is just the greatness and becoming better people every single day. I think that's something that is special about him is he doesn't care if he's playing Week 18 or Week 1 or Super Bowl or preseason game. He's the same. He's the same. He's going to expect greatness out of you. And when you leave the building, he wants you to be a better person than when you got in the building. And I think that makes it you want to be better every single day that you're in the building. And so when people talk about 3-peat and everything like that, we're focused on how we can be better today to prepare ourselves for the next day. And it starts with him.
Do you ever hear him say something like 3-peat? Does that ever come out of his mouth?
I think the only time I've heard him say it is like to the media whenever y'all ask him about it. So he's very locked in on just how can we be great with our cadence today at practice. So that's just the stuff that Coach Reed focused on.
Nate.
Patrick, I think Clark mentioned this after the game on Sunday, but the experience of having Kareem at your wedding and that being a catapult moment that maybe you didn't know at the time that would lead to him having this redemption arc, just what do you appreciate most about what Kareem's done this season, and I guess in a simple term, why did you choose to invite him to a pretty significant day in your life?
Yeah, I mean, I think first off, I mean, with Kareem, I mean, obviously he made his mistakes, but I knew the person before and I knew the person after, and I knew that he had a good heart and he had to learn from his mistakes and become a better person because of it, and he did that. He dealt with the consequences, and he's kind of tried to rebound and just be a better person for the community more than anything, and so just knowing him and how close he was to me, but also how he treated Brittany and how he treated my family has always been special. And so I wanted to have him at my wedding. I didn't think anything of having my coaches. I was just having all the people I love at my wedding, and Obviously, I think Coach Reed talked to him there, and they were able to talk about just things. And we never knew that was going to be coming back to the Chiefs, but getting him back now, you can tell he appreciates the moment. He appreciates being out there on the practice field and being in the building. And it's been fun for him to have an impact on this team that he's had, and it's been a big impact. And to get to the Super Bowl with him, because as someone that I was one of the first people I met when I got to Kansas City, and not to be able to enjoy those Super Bowls with, and to finally get to enjoy one with him will be a special moment. Hopefully we can get a win, and he can enjoy that too.
Patrick, you've got some guys like yourself and Chris, Travis, like to trash talk onto the field. Woke up the wrong gentleman.
Yeah.
But Andy seems to have a distinction between trash talking off the field and showing your personalities and doing it off the field. Like interviews like this, Super Bowl week becomes a big part of that. How do you balance that? And how does Coach kind of encourage that too?
Yeah, well, for me, I'm pretty good at, I don't really talk trash unless I get trash talked to me. So I'm usually pretty calm. But Coach Reed is great about showing your personality, and we want you to go out there and play with fire, and we want you to show how much you care about the game. But we have respect for the game as well, and so we respect the guys on the other side of the football. We know how hard it is to get to this point and how great of a football team and great football players you have to be. And so that's why it's just genuine. You're just honest, and you respect the guys on the other side of the football. When you're in between the lines, you show your fire, you show your love for the game. But when you're off the field, you show respect for the game, and I think that's important, and I think that's why we're in the position that we're in.
Nick, and then we'll finish with Matt.
Test your memory here. Bill Snyder, we talked to him yesterday. He called you the best quarterback he ever went up against. You remember much about those games? You've always been a historian about the games, too. Did you have an appreciation maybe at the time you were a freshman out there playing against Snyder on the sideline or anything like that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, first off, playing against them and then getting those letters after the game, I've kept those letters. And so just a true great person, an iconic coach, and an iconic leader, just made his imprint in football forever, especially at K-State, but just throughout the Big 12 and football in general. And so played a lot of games. Well, I think I only won one of them. I came into the fourth quarter, I believe, of one of them, and then played at Texas Tech. We lost. I mean, we won at Texas Tech in Lubbock, and then went to K-State, and I came off an injury, and we ended up losing that game. Tried to do a Hail Mary at the end of the game, got hit. I think I threw a pick to DJ Reed, who's in the NFL. So it's always cool when you play the greats against the greats, and you get to see their impact and why they're so great. And so it was some fun moments for me in college.
Did you get a letter after every game? Or
I got two of them. So the first one I didn't get one because I came at the fourth quarter probably, but then the second one and the third one I got one.
Patrick, the Alex Smith trade was 7 years ago today. When you think about all your success since then, how did Alex leave an impact on you to get to where you are now?
Yeah, I mean, just showing you how to be a professional. I think that was the biggest thing, and how to go about your business. Obviously a great dude, someone that comes to my charity golf tournament still to this day, and I spent a lot of time with Alex and his family, and I think more than anything, he made his imprint on how you prepare, how you go about your business every single day, and how you get better. And for someone coming out of college and going into a professional world, it helped speed up the process of me becoming who I am.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Patrick.
All right, so that's Patrick Mahomes. Speaking about that 7 years ago, that's wild. 7 years ago, offseason, we all knew that they were going to trade Alex Smith, but then remember it happened and they had to wait a couple weeks for it to become official.
Yeah, I do.
I think it was the late great Trez Paler who broke that story, if I'm not mistaken, at the time of the trade. Alex Smith getting traded to the time the Redskins, now the Commanders.
I stood the day that got announced. I stood next to Terez for 2.5 consecutive hours next to Alex Smith and his agents, trying to get him booked on an interview. Just me and Terez.
Oh, on Radio Row.
Radio Row, just slowly following Alex Smith around, sorry, Patrick Mahomes around after it was announced that Alex Smith got traded, to try to get Patrick Mahomes to talk about the fact that he was getting ready to be the starting quarterback for the Chiefs. Little did I know, obviously, that he would turn into one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I just knew he was going to be the starter for the Chiefs.
It's nice to hear Mahomes have respect for Bill Snyder. We know somebody else maybe doesn't have quite the same respect.
He blocked me. I didn't block him. Mm-hmm. This is a one-way street.
Mm-hmm.
Bill and I could still be pals if you hadn't blocked me.
A legend. To get blocked by a legend, you had to have done something terrible.
Anything.
For the great Hall of Fame head coach Bill Snyder to block you, I mean, I don't know what you would have said to him, man. That's
didn't
terrible.
Do anything. He did this. He started this feud.
Oh, it is a feud.
It is now. He's never apologized. He's never unblocked me. He never undid that retweet that I think led to the being blocked. I don't know what I did this night. Do you think he ever gets on Twitter?
I'm not sure, man. Not sure.
Can't think he does very often. I didn't, by the way. That seemingly was new news. I didn't realize when Andy Reid mentioned it that they ran 65 toss power trap. I didn't realize that they ran the infamous play.
Knew.
It's like the entire video series department. They've got offices named after it. It's one of the most famous plays in Kansas City Chiefs history, along with Jet Chip Wasp now and Corn Dog, or the ones that come up.
Prior to this run, it was
only
the most famous play. That's really cool.
It almost scored it. Sticks it didn't score a touchdown. Now I'm kind of bummed.
Did you hear what he also said though? He said that he's like it worked. Buffalo ran it, and he said it worked for them. It worked better for them, I think is how he phrased it.
Buffalo ran it against them?
That's what he said, because someone followed up, and he's like, they ran it, it worked better for them. Now, maybe I'm misreading. Is he referencing just in the history, it worked better for them? Not the Bills.
I guess I didn't ask. It could have been.
I have to hear the sequence again. Either way, really cool nod back to, as he said, the old guys with that as well. But it's the first time that they've ever ran it in his time as a head coach. You would have thought it would have come up
all these
earlier.
years to run it, and then he just decided in some random game, not random game, but in the AFC, it is random by the standard of choosing the play.
Sure.
He could have run it in week 6. He could have run it in the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, someone.
It's got to be weird to call that in the knowing everything named after. It's got to be a little bit weird to call that in the huddle.
Mm-hmm. Someone says "hungry pig." Right, that was Don Poke. That's correct. But that one, I don't. That's a fun one. That's not anywhere near the relevance of Jet Chip Wasp or Power. That's much different. But I get it.
Bill blocked you. That's embarrassing.
That's what I'm saying. It is. You have to admit though, to be blocked by a legendary Hall of Famer and an all around what sounds like quality human being. It's more. It's more.
By all
about,
accounts,
it's more
an amazing dude.
More about you, I think.
I like to think of myself as an amazing human being.
I don't know how you got blocked by him.
I care about people. I don't write them handwritten notes. I could though. I guess. Maybe I'll make that my
handwriting's too bad to ever be that person anyway.
You could type something and just sign
It's
your
not the
name.
same. If Bill Snyder's letters were typed, it would not have had the same charm or anything like that. The fact that it was handwritten, it feels more personal and all that. My handwriting's too bad. You would not be able to read it. It would look like I'm in elementary school writing.
I write the teachers a notes when I get them gifts at the end of the year. Thank you for taking care of my kid kind of stuff. Handwritten?
Bill Snyder
like
did the ink in the quill.
That's right. He's probably like on a quill, like a giant feather.
Mm-hmm. He's using the calligraphy pens.
I'm just using like a Bic, or G20 or something, just a regular
a simple
pen.
Bic pen.
Mm-hmm. I don't really keep those around.
Like if I have to write a thank you card or something, like I regret doing it because I know that it's hard for the person to read. Like my handwriting's like a doctor's handwriting. It's really bad. Really, really bad. You've seen my signature as well. It's bad. It's like
it's not
around
great.
the office. Occasionally there'll be somebody in the building, not necessarily our station, where we're signing a card for something, and
Maybe someone's retiring or
whatever.
You're
And
like,
it's like,
happy
and
retirement.
I just know my handwriting's gonna stick out like a sore thumb, and it looks terrible.
You just write slow.
That's just not good handwriting.
Doesn't matter how you
it's
do
not
it.
good handwriting.
Write it in cursive. Would that make
all
it
that
look
time
better?
wasted writing in cursive? That's what it was.
My daughter, they still learn cursive, I think.
Do they? Why?
She comes home sometimes and does it. I don't know.
What a waste. Honestly, what a waste. Don't you think?
I mean, probably, but what's the harm,
Someone says lefties have bad handwriting. I'm not a lefty, though. I'm a right-handed writer. So, I don't know.
Too bad, man.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some left-handed people that have good handwriting.
I would assume so.
Someone says we need to get Bill Snyder on, get to the bottom of this. I don't think Cody, if you're being out, you're like, he probably has no clue what we're talking about. That's
I don't
the
think
thing.
so.
He has no. Cody I blocked him on Twitter. What? I have no
He's like,
idea.
I don't even remember doing that. You're like, can you unblock me? Can you get on there?
Let's get to all 32, and then we're expected to hear potentially from Xavier Worthy in a little while as well. So, you guys know something that I was frustrated about the first month of the season in the NFL was the new kickoff rule. I was like, what are we doing? It's just a waste of time. Either have the old one or just get rid of it. Now we've gone through a whole season, so let's look at some of the numbers. Overall, the goal was to increase returns. They accomplished that. Returns were up 57%.
That's a huge increase.
Year over year. Now it speaks to how
down they got.
How down it was. The new dynamic kickoff was 1 year change. Remember, it will require 24 teams to approve keeping the rule. My guess is they're going to keep it, but they have to still do the tweak, which is on touchbacks, make it the 40-yard line, not just the 35 or 30. That is something that has to change for it still not to be a waste of time, in my opinion, because we still had a ton of touchbacks. 57% year over year. But if you want it to actually get back to anywhere near the levels it once was, it's going to have to build up on that even more. But I think this is something that the owners will approve again and
I think so too.
Make it a more permanent deal. But a few tweaks, that's fine. if it was
57%
all about
is a win in its own right because something
from
is
the year before.
actually happening. Their whole thing is like, that's good and all, but they got to find out whether or not concussions go up. Like, they still got to find out whether or not, after all of this, if they brought concussions back up to a higher number because those had gone away because nobody was returning kicks anymore because everyone was kicking it out of the end zone. Because if it turns out this 57% increase comes with a 10% increase in the likelihood you got a concussion, well, then they're done. They got to get rid of it anyway.
Yeah, so I just thought that was a huge story.
Yeah, I think so too.
And maybe it'll come up more Super Bowl week, like nationally, and people write stuff, but it got kind of quiet for a while. That was a huge topic the first month or so. And then now we got some data, a year's worth of data, that is, and up 57%.
I'm used to seeing it at this point. It still kind of looks a little bit awkward, but I like it better than no kickoffs at all. For my all 32, I just want to squash something right now. I see the people saying the normal thing. Pete Carroll, head coach there in Las Vegas. They're sticking with the same DC. There's a logical connection here. Russell Wilson is a free agent. He worked with Pete Carroll in there. And so you're like, oh, let's put them together. I'm going to make two things very clear. One, that ain't ever going to happen. There's a report this morning reminding people that in 2022, Russell Wilson tried to get Pete Carroll fired. He tried to get the future Hall of Fame coach fired because he didn't think he was doing a good enough job of coaching their team and leading them in that situation. What this really boils down to is no other team should take a shot on Russ. Let his ass retire. You should not be bringing him into your organization. He has turned into a toxic personality inside of the organization. He's trying to get his head coach fired in Seattle. He goes to Denver, where his head coach hated him and eventually got them to move on from him as well. He went to Pittsburgh, and it never seemed like it was all smooth sailing there either. Reportedly problems with him and the OC and the others. Seems like he's gone to three organizations as he's had a problem with some of the people in charge in 3 straight stops. And you know my theory on that. That typically means you're the problem. If I'm a team even looking for a stopgap starting quarterback, it ain't Russ.
Yeah, the trend will be interesting to follow to see if anybody else gets him. So for my all 32, Greg Olsen, really good broadcaster. I think we all know this. He has done a really nice job when he's been in the booth. But for like the 15th time, it seems like this in the last 2 weeks, it's like Greg Olsen is complaining about being the number 2. Man, I wish I was the number 1 guy, you know? Man, I'm really going to hate watching the Super Bowl when I'm not calling the game. Greg Olsen's great, but I'm sick and tired of hearing how he's got to be the number 2 broadcaster. I don't know how you guys feel about this. He's good, but I'm tired of hearing about it. We get it. Sometimes this stuff happens, though. We know you're a good broadcaster.
Mad about his job.
Sorry.
So I'm with you that there's been... And Greg Olsen is really, really good, but it's weird how much people have acted like he's the most mistreated broadcaster in NFL history. He was a tight end in the league for a while, got into broadcasting on the fast track because he was an NFL player. It happens. It is what it is. And he's an analyst, and he's very good at it. He got to already do 1 Super Bowl, Chiefs-Eagles, actually, a couple years ago. And then the greatest quarterback to play the game wants to be in broadcasting, and they're paying him $300 million a year. Yeah, he's going to be the number 1 dude. Sorry. Like, welcome to life. That's how it works in a lot of play. Welcome to life. It also applies to you, too. You got a fast track to go call a Super Bowl. You know how many other people at Fox were waiting to call a Super Bowl? You got to jump the line. Sorry, you got the line was jumped ahead of you.
I think his argument is I'm good at my job.
He is good. Oh,
I'm better than the guy whose job.
I bet the other guys think they're good at the job. Look, one day he will be at another network is what will happen ultimately.
He obviously hates
he
being
might
at
do
Fox
Amazon or something. But you're right. It's like we've acted like he's the most mistreated broadcaster in the world. Like we've overcompensated too much.
It does feel, I'll say, it feels a little bit weird how vocal he's been about it.
He has been very vocal.
This is his current employer. Like, let's just say, like I wanted a different job at this station. It became available to get that job, and they gave it to somebody else.
Do you want a different job at this station?
It'd be a little bit weird. It'd be a little bit weird if then for the next year, I just kept being on this show. I'd be like, that should have been my job. And he'd be like, hey, dude, you still kind of are employed by the place that we're talking about here. Are you sure you want to keep bringing up about how they screwed you
now,
over?
fairness to him, he's got leverage, so he knows it. Like, he knows even if Fox fired him, he would get a job somewhere else. That's the difference. He also knows he can get away with more. But I'm with you, Drew, where it's like, all right, we get it. We get it, man. We understand that you're disappointed, and Tom Brady took your job. Okay, like, everybody can relate to that.
Anytime
it happens.
that somebody gets booted, they don't like it. It's very
nobody
disappointing.
Nobody wants to have somebody jump the line. But that's all 32. Up next, they're still talking about it in Buffalo. Their general manager, Brandon Beane, had a press conference today. What did he have to say about the Josh Allen 4th down run and the Xavier Worthy catch? You'll want to hear that next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Super Bowl 59. One game, two teams, endless possibilities. And there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether you're predicting the first touchdown, who'll take home the MVP trophy, or the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to place your bets and feel the thrill of every moment. With live betting all game long, you can jump into the action, adjust your bets, and ride the wave of excitement from kickoff to the final whistle. Plus, to make the Super Bowl even sweeter, new customers can score $200 when you make your first bet. Just place a $5 bet, and if you win, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com/Alex and bet with FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 59 and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
When you have an expert financial partner invested in you, you can't help but feel like a star. Like the new graduate opening their first investment account, the small business owner proudly adding a new location, or the young couple buying their first home. At Community America, we're invested in helping members achieve financial peace of mind with products and services tailored to each stage of life. Member owned, open to all. Community America Credit Union, invested in you.
Fall in love with your home comfort this season and save money too. A $69 heating system tune-up from Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter is the best way to ensure your HVAC system is operating at top efficiency. Boost your comfort and help prevent breakdowns by calling the experts at Hamilton today. With over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews, the pros at Hamilton are your best bet. Visit callhamilton.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2024-11121.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you've got an oil change coming up. We can help you save on the right oil for your vehicle. Right now, get 5 quarts of Castrol Edge Full Synthetic or Castrol Edge Full Synthetic High Mileage Motor Oil with an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for just $35.99. Visit one of our 6,000 stores or order from AutoZone.com for same-day store pickup or next-day delivery.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
At David's Bridal, love is in every stitch. From the initial sketch to the final details, each style is designed with exquisite craftsmanship. Every wedding gown, bridesmaid look, prom dress, and special occasion style in between features handcrafted details filled with love. Come see the magic in person. Book an appointment and sign up for Diamond Loyalty to save 15% on your first purchase. Earn points towards special rewards and more at davidsbridal.com.
I'm at a smoothie bar asking people if they'd switch smoothies with me for $574.
Oh, I'll switch.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
That's a headache.
Nope, it's painless.
Oh, so it's easy money.
Yep, check Allstate first and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
The technicians you can trust with your house keys. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Back here on Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. We'll get to the random question of the day in about 15 minutes or so. Also, Danan Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver, of course, color analyst for the Chiefs Radio Network. He'll be in New Orleans calling the Super Bowl with Mitch Holthus, Josh Klingler, Dan Israel. He's going to join us in the 1 o'clock hour today as well. So we know here locally we've kind of moved on from the complaining about spots of footballs and chips in footballs and things like that, but they're obviously not done with it in Buffalo. And in fairness, like everybody does an end-of-season wrap-up. And that's what happened today in Buffalo with their general manager. And the Buffalo Bills general manager, Brandon Beane, was talking about the 4th and 1 spot ruling and then also the Xavier Worthy catch that was challenged. Here's what he had to say.
It's frustrating. There's only so much I can say. I don't, we work with the league to try to get clarity, and I'll give them credit. They've taken our calls. They've sent video and things like that. I just, I wish, if you're talking about like the 4th down play, that was, I feel like he got that. And I still feel like he got that. I felt that in the moment. And nothing has changed my mind on that, and the play that we challenged, I thought was a good challenge. I'm not sure either player had possession on the Bishop Worthy play when the ball touched the ground. You have to have possession. It's like, what is possession, and what Matt says is possession might not be what Elena says is possession. You know what I mean? It's a little bit. But when the ball touches the ground, someone has to have established possession. And, again, they've given how they see it, and that's their job. But it is what it is. I mean, those are just like plays we didn't make in a game too. So by no means are we saying that's why we lost the game.
The last part's key there, right? The last part's key. That he has
probably good to cover your ass with that last.
The last part's key. Look, I'm not. It's not stunning that a general manager for a team that just had a tough loss is going to disagree with how something was called. I mean, that's not new. He's not like in this unique spot. I don't like. I'm not even.
The Allen one, I don't understand.
That's the one.
What about that looks like a first down for guaranteed?
That's the thing. Nobody on either side can say guaranteed. I do not know 100% that Josh Allen did not get the first down. But they sure as hell can't act like they feel 100% that he got it either. That's my issue. It's the review. We know the initial spot when you're talking about players being covered up, or the football in particular being covered up, we know that that's a play that usually does not get overturned. I mean, for years, Cody, whether it's at the goal line or it's the spot on the ball, and that was the initial spot. And then if you're going to complain about the official on the far side of the field versus the near side, if you're a Bills fan, you think they should have taken the far side of the field spot.
Correct.
No kidding. And if you're a Chiefs fan, you obviously think the near side was correct. So again, neither one can claim with certainty.
And they were like, well, one person had a size of the ball. No one had a view of the ball. I just looked at I watched the TV angles like anyone else. There is no view of the ball, and that is inevitably a problem. And it always goes back to the same thing. You had plenty of chances, like on the 4th and 5.
He said that.
Yeah. On the 4th and 5, you could have gotten a first down. Trent McDuffie, speaking to the media just a second ago, said, I heard the offensive lineman check the protection to the other way, and I knew we got him. Mm-hmm. In the biggest moments.
They're better. They're better.
Got him. The other thing I'll always say about the Josh Allen run, and this is where I think it's really important sometimes in sports, leave no doubt. And you know that about sports. Leave no doubt. You had to get 6 inches. And if you got it, you got 7. Get 12. Get a 1.5 feet. Don't leave this up to some guy trying to watch it from 30 yards away.
They had no downfield
Leave them no
threat.
doubt. You only had to move the ball 6 inches, and you could only maybe move it 5, maybe 7, but like leave no doubt.
Yeah, they
Like,
had
that's
no
all.
downfield threat in the entire game. They were trying to do the bare minimum to get first downs throughout that game. The Buffalo Bills were. They had nothing down the field. Truly, when did you ever feel like they were threading down the field?
No, the one time they moved it, they ran it 78
James
times
Cook,
in a row.
and they went away from that. And they went away from that. I still think it was a bad challenge. I disagree with Brandon Beane. That's fine. I didn't think that was a good challenge from Sean McDermott. Even if you wanted the Chiefs to have a first down, 20 yards difference, in the way the game was going, I'm not so sure if you're stopping them. Also, I believe Xavier Worthy had firm grasp of the football when it hit the ground.
The other part about it is, and I'll always point this out, them talking about the challenge only ever discusses the possibility about whether or not it was a catch. Not that it was going to be a first down, regardless of what the overturn call was. And due to the limited amount of time left in the half, by getting it overturned, you might put yourself in an even more disadvantageous spot of getting the ball back. A drive, I'll remind you, that they ended up scoring a touchdown to Mac Hollins on. It's pretending like context doesn't matter, I guess, is part of it. Like if you're only talking about, did he make a catch? Not talking about whether or not there's going to be this. I really feel like this is going to be the Buffalo Bills, the one from the Cowboys 10 years ago that they're still talking about that he made the catch or not. Who the hell was that? Odell? Whatever. Like Odell Beckham. Dez Bryant. They're going to keep talking about this like Worthy one, like, I don't think he made the catch. Like, let it go. Make a different catch. It's going to be the opposite end, obviously, because in that case, the Cowboys are talking about the fact that he caught it. But
Our big game coverage on 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by Community America Credit Union. Member owned, open to all, invested in you. Join today at communityamerica.com. Drew, I'm not sure if Xavier Worthy or Trent McDuffie, who's at the podium right now. I know we were going to go to one of them. Just let me know when Worthy maybe is available. I know I saw a quote come out from McDuffie. It was pretty funny. He's like, the biggest tell when I'm blitzing, he says, Spags called my number, and I got a huge smile on my face. And when that's the biggest tell, basically.
Don't tell people that. Don't be letting them know that when you smile, it could mean that you're blitzing.
Jalen Hurts is looking for the smile, and he knows the blitz is on. He knows the blitz is on from Trent McDuffie.
It's got to be kind of wild when you're these teammates, and all of a sudden you get your name called when you're the number one corner.
Let's talk about the rookie, Xavier Worthy. He is speaking right now.
I'm ready to slay the dragon, right? The college football playoff.
Man, I was hoping to get back in there, man. Lost my last one in there, so just get a chance of redemption.
I mean, at the time, that was the biggest game of your life, right?
Yeah.
What do you remember about that?
I got this picture in the end zone when I was sitting in the end zone. They doing like the ceremony, so that's just like my memory. My memory bank.
Motivating.
It's my motivation. Yeah.
Xavier talked with Brennan, and he was telling me just how he always believed in you. Just what was it about not just him, but just all those people in your youth that believed in you to make it to where you are now?
Yeah, Coach Marion actually came from my youth, which is crazy how he coached me in college. So, like, Coach Marion was, like, one of the coaches that gave me, like, my first offer. So, like, just talking to him throughout recruiting and having a guy that was actually in college that was helping me every day. Coach Marion was helping me with, like, routes and helping me with videos, sending videos, he'd critique me. So, having him throughout the journey was amazing just to have somebody like that.
And how much have you heard from people that believe in you, that see you now going to the Super Bowl in your rookie year? How much of those people that have motivated you and helped you succeed, how comforting is it to hear their message to you and how you've been playing?
Man, it's amazing because the people around me, they're my hardest critics. I mean, just they'll tell me when I'm wrong, they tell me when I'm right, but now everybody's telling me I'm right, so you gotta kind of gotta tune it out and just listen to the people that got you there the whole time.
Xavier, the Bills game on 4th and 5, the NFL films showed that everybody was facing the field and you were facing the other direction. I just wondered.
Wait, what you talking about?
The 4th and 5 that the Bills were trying to run.
I don't watch it.
Yeah, can you just take me through that? What's happening on that moment?
I don't like watching like last second field goals, last second plays. I feel like it's bad luck. Every time I watch it, they normally got a first down, so I just looked away.
I'm sure when you get here, you're going to a great team, and this is what you want. You want to be in the Super Bowl. What was the journey like compared to what you thought it would be? All the different things, Rashee Rice going down, DeAndre Hopkins shows up midseason. I mean, it's been quite a journey. How different was it, or how similar was it to what you thought it would be?
This is my first team where I had like a lot of guys like go down, and I wasn't really like one of the key guys. I had to step up. So this is my first time stepping up and just being a guy that Pat could rely on. So just having that and having the leadership of the guys that actually went down, they've been helping me, leading me throughout the way. So it's amazing just to have them on this journey.
Hey, Xavier, what have you learned about Andy Reid since you've been here that you didn't know?
So it was everything I already thought, master game planner.
Andy kind of talked about how the first half of the season he could see that you were really absorbing and learning, and the second half you've really been executing. Just talk about how the first half and the second half have been different for you.
Just the growth and the knowledge I got from the guys. I learned from every mistake I had. All the guys were helping me with just even like the little things I could have gotten. Even the stuff I did good and I could improve on. So I'm just carrying over from what the guys like Trav, Pat, D-Hop, Hollywood, Juju, them guys taught me. So just learning from them.
Xavier, you had a big whip route in the game against the Bills. How did you develop that particular route?
I feel like I always ran a good whip route, even in college. So just I feel like route running was like a thing that I kind of could work on, but I feel like I had a good feel for. So just like you said, like I said earlier, just learning from the guys like Trav. Trav is one of the best at the league of getting open in zone and feeling man and knowing leverage. So just learning from him.
The play that you come down with the ball, with contested catch, and what do you have time? Do you have thoughts? Do you have a memory of what it is that he's got it? I got to get it back.
The crazy part is I just feel like I felt my hand hit the ball and I just tuck. I try to tuck as fast as possible.
You used to winning strength battles, right? Is that your game?
Must.
Couple more.
Xavier, virtually nobody's better than Patrick on game-winning drives in the fourth quarter, in the clutch. Can you describe being a part of those plays and what his demeanor is and how much belief you have in him in those moments?
Man, just going into a game knowing that you have a guy like you just said, like Pat, arguably one of the best players in the clutch. So just going into a fourth quarter and knowing it's close and you have the ball last second drive to go do something, make something, execute, you know Pat's going to come up big. So it's no worries at all.
It's kind of atypical for a rookie to have such a performance like in an AFC title. What do you think gives you the edge of being able to stay calm and just play your game in that type of moment?
Just my mentality. I go out there just trying to prove everybody wrong. I was coming in to the season doubted. Everybody said, oh, he's not fit to be a big-time receiver. He's too small. He's injury-prone. I feel like I proved everybody wrong, and I'm going to continue to prove everybody wrong.
Xavier, Andy said he came up to you and your mom after the game. I just wondered what that moment was like for you.
Yeah, he just walked by. He seen me and my mom and was just talking to us. I don't know what he's talking to my mom about, but.
Last one, I know.
Xavier, in the last two games, 2 big catches. First off against Houston, back shoulder grab, and of course against Buffalo, wrestling it down. How much do you owe that to D-Hop's tutelage since he's come on board?
Yeah, like D-Hop said, he's literally my hardest critic. I'm talking about a ball could touch my fingernail and he'd be like, "You should have caught that." So just him like making it hard on me and it's always gonna work out.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
All right, that was Xavier Worthy talking to me. How about that? He's superstitious, huh? So if we see there's a big play in the Super Bowl, he's not looking at the field.
Back.
Yeah, he does. He's not watching the 4th and 5. He's not watching Butker kick a game winner.
You know people who like bury their hands at your house. You're like, I can't see it. I can't see it.
Oh, we've seen players on the bench, cover their face or whatever. So he's not like the first player that's ever done it. I just didn't know that was his thing. Big plays. He doesn't watch. Bad luck.
Bad luck.
Whatever works. Whatever works.
Lots of variations of superstition, Everyone's got their own thing. Certainly for Xavier Worthy, it appears to be around the final big plays of the game. He gets to participate if it's going the other way. Then you don't have to think about it, He's going to make those catch. I still, his catch, the ball doesn't move. The ball can touch the ground, it doesn't move. I always thought that was the argument for it, I guess. But he's been so good since the Buffalo's-Bills game. I pointed out before, but pretty much 1,000-yard, like a 1,200 all-purpose yard, but 1,000 receiving yards, 1,200 all-purpose, 10 touchdown pace since Buffalo. He's been a true number one weapon in an offense since that Buffalo Bills game. And so any thought that, can they be led by a rookie wide receiver again? Yeah, they can. It is kind of wild that in back-to-back Super Bowl runs, their number one pass-catching option has turned into a rookie wide receiver. But kudos to Brett Veach. Don't get those picks right, Gold, then where are you in the receiver game, right? Then who you throwing to?
Bink and I were talking about Xavier Worthy, too, is that he was the number one guy at Texas. He has some of the records at Texas. He was big time at Texas, so him going through and being that go-to guy where, he said he wasn't one of the key guys now, but he's been that before, where his mentality, I think, is no different, where, like, after the game, he's talking about, I'm going to play Call of Duty after the game. Like, he's chill about, like, I'm just here to play football. Like, I'm locked in so much that, and Andy talked about the prep. That's why I think that players don't, like, we can talk about how much pressure we feel, or fans can be nervous, but I really don't think the players feel that level of nerves.
I think it depends on the player, but
If you prepare properly, like Andy said, if you prepare properly, you will not be nervous in the game, as nervous as you would be to make mistakes where you've been there, like Xavier Worthy's been there and done that in big games. It makes sense why the transition is as smooth as he says it is.
No
from
doubt.
the NFL to from college.
I think for him, a lot of it is, it definitely helps when you got Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Travis Kelce and these guys that have been through it. And he talked about DeAndre Hopkins, versus, heck, Josh Allen's been around for a while, and I don't know about you guys, he looked shook the first drive of the game.
He did.
He looked nervous.
He looked not very good in the final drive of the game. Now Bills fans are circulating, they think he hurt his hand.
That's fine.
In
Whatever.
the third quarter. I was like, I don't care. I mean, that happens. Sometimes Patrick Mahomes once had his ankle rolled up on in a football game, and it didn't stop him from winning. Like, I'm sorry you got hurt. It's football. That's kind of the whole point. I did see a text on the text. Dez caught it.
That was the whole thing, man. You guys remember?
Like, your team hasn't been to an NFC title game since Gold was born. So, like, I don't really care if Dez did or didn't catch a single pass, 10 years
The game
ago.
swung on that play. It seemed
I don't
like,
care
and that
yet.
was a divisional
You
round
had
game.
30
I'm
other
just saying.
years
I know,
to
I'm
get
just
to
saying.
an NFC title game. Dez didn't catch it or not catch it all those other years. Like, I don't like when loser franchises who have accomplished nothing make bigger excuses. Like, if your team's never won a Super Bowl, you don't get to hang on the, like, well, that one time, like 7 years ago, though, that guy caught that ball. And you're like, I don't care. You just hired Brian Schottenheimer. Good luck. Like the Bills, right? They've never won a Super Bowl. At least they've been to some.
Yep.
Not with Josh Allen.
Not in Gold's life. Same problem. In Gold's
the Bills have been to a Super Bowl in my life. I just was 2 or 3 years old.
Infant. Yeah.
Yeah. They've been. I was alive in the 90s, but it's
toddler. Not in Drew's life.
But yeah.
Only barely in yours. You were born in 1991.
When was the last one they went to?
94, right? 95?
Yeah, right around there.
Whatever.
I was not alive then.
So not in Drew's life and barely in yours.
All right, let's get to. We could talk to Danan about the Bills AFC title games and stuff. I don't know if he wants to talk about that or not. But
probably happier to talk about these AFC
how about
title
games.
games.
The present day. Danan's going to join us here in about 15 minutes or so. But let's get to the random question.
Random question.
For you, Gold. For you, Drew, over in the text line, 913-586-7965. You can hit us up on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. We live stream the show every day. Please like, subscribe over there as well. Would love to get your feedback there. Today, I'm going to make it about a Kansas City Chiefs players group who've obviously been doing the Doritos commercials. We know that it's our guy, Creed Humphrey. It has been Patrick Mahomes.
Worthy was
Chris
just in this
Jones,
commercial.
Worthy, who was in the commercial as well. So we're going to keep it nice and simple. Everything Chiefs related or Super Bowl related is how I've been handling some of these random questions, except for the one where I asked you if you'd relive the same day over and over again for $150 million, to which you said no.
Yeah.
I'm surprised, man. You said you'd change your middle name for like $20K.
Yeah, that's not nearly as big of a deal as living the same day over and over.
He's not going to go insane for changing his middle name.
The question I have today is, other than the original, I do not want that to be the answer, what is the best Doritos flavor?
I hate to kill your vibe
Cool
here.
Ranch.
I hate to do this
You're
to you.
only going to say the original?
I don't like Doritos.
At all?
I don't. The original are fine. I don't like Doritos.
Cool Ranch is the best.
I knew this was going to upset you.
What do you not like about Doritos?
I'm not a big fan
It's
of
a
them.
very popular chip.
Oh, sure it is. I know it is.
Too much flavor?
No.
Because you like tortilla chips and Lay's? Do you like a different chip? A flavorful chip?
Of course.
Name a flavorful chip you like. Because I know your two favorite chips happen to be plain Lay's and Tostitos.
Tostitos.
No, I want
Tostitos are
not
great.
a salty flavor.
Well, you just like the corn chip?
Yeah.
So you like Fritos then? That's what they are, though. Fritos are the exact same.
Fritos, well, you got to go brush your teeth immediately afterwards because the breath is awful on Fritos. It's not the same thing as regular Tostito.
Yeah, we just eat them around the house. That's an easy enough. I think it's
Tostitos,
the
my
sweet
answer.
spicy chili is my answer, by the way.
Yeah, just
or
to
Cool Ranch.
Maybe
I
I would
both of
like.
those.
Maybe I would like the other flavors better, Cody, because the original, I'm like, Like, if that was the bag that we had in the office next to sandwiches, I'd be like, I'm good. I just won't eat a bag of chips.
Someone says spicy nacho is their preference, also accusing you of just not liking red number 40.
That's what it is, guys. I'm a health freak. I don't mess with red 40.
You didn't know this about Alex, but yeah, he's anti-red 40.
He's going to the gym now, all that.
As I'm drinking my Powerade that has 34 grams of sugar in it this morning.
I see
I am going to the
salsa
gym
verde
barely.
getting an option. That's good.
Give me a different flavor. What's the flavor I should? Maybe you think I'll like
Sweet
a different
spicy
flavor?
chili, I think.
Don't say
but you
Cool
don't like
Ranch.
spice. You don't like spicy stuff.
No, but Cool Ranch, I'm definitely not going to have. So.
What about
Someone says my favorite chip is the popcorn from the vending machine. The what do you call it? Skinny Pop is very good. That doesn't count though, probably for you.
But you like no spice, right? For you, like traditionally, you don't like if I said sweet chili, like sweet and spice. Do you like that?
It depends. Yeah,
spicy nacho maybe you might like.
I think maybe try the salsa verde.
Okay.
You know that could be like I think that might be
I like
able
a
to
good.
walk you
I got
into
a good
that.
answer. I like a good barbecue chip. I like a good barbecue chip.
They do like a sweet and spicy barbecue one.
Okay, I haven't
maybe
tried
like
that.
that. It's sweet and tangy. I think is what they call it, barbecue.
It's
maybe
not
like
a
that
barbecue
one.
chip though.
Give me a barbecue.
But
like,
it says
give me
barbecue flavor.
I know, but it's not a barbecue chip.
Give me like a rigid, like what the Ruffles barbecue. Like, give me one of those. Got the ridges in it. It's barbecue, and I'm in.
Somebody mentioned the taco. I used to eat that one as a kid, the taco flavored Dorito chip. I will admit, I tried to have those like chili limon ones that are like the stick kind. Kind of mediocre. You know?
Excellent.
Not my favorite.
True.
They're calling you a psychopath.
Mm-hmm. Someone says, "How the bleep did I know Gold was going to say he didn't like Doritos?" The minute you said Doritos, the minute you said your favorite Dorito, I'm like, "Well, what if you don't like any Dorito?
No,
you just assume everybody likes Doritos?"
Somebody said nacho cheese Doritos with cottage cheese.
Is that Dusty texting in cottage cheese? He's
come
Mr.
on,
Cottage Cheese.
Come on now.
There's no cottage.
Someone says Doritos are way overrated, not very good. Thank you. Someone says Cheetos. Every once in a while, a little Cheeto chip.
You gotta have the
A
hot
lot
Cheetos.
of votes for the taco one, by the way.
All right, maybe that's the one I should try. Taco flavored Dorito.
Do they still sell
I mean,
the
you
taco
like
flavor?
tacos? I don't know. Felt like I haven't had that one in a while, but it was one that I certainly ate as a kid.
Cool Ranch is still the
Someone says
OG.
Nick Bolton's barbecue chips. We brought those in. Those were terrific.
I've gotten a couple more bags since then.
Does that work for you? That's a flavored chip, Cody. Nick Bolton's barbecue chip that we tried on air before.
I wasn't here for that.
Oh, you weren't?
Have you tried them at all?
No.
Yeah.
Bolton's chips.
Drew, you liked them. We gave you the extra bag.
That's what I'm saying.
My
I've
favorite
got
kind of
more
chip is
bags
a
since
kettle. I like a kettle chip probably better than any other kind of chip.
Well,
I like
kettle
that
chip
good
is
crunch.
solid. The
Good kettle,
Nick
like a
Bolton-
jalapeno kettle chip. That's probably like top of the
Bolton
pyramid
doesn't have
for
a
me
kettle
in
chip,
chips.
but those are very good.
Nick
His
Bolton's
are
were
very
like
good.
the old Vienna of St. Louis honey blaze barbecue, rigid
Very
potato
good.
chip.
Very good.
It's a lot of things. Honey Blaze barbecue, so that you might like the honey. Like, I think we should get you to try the Dorito that's got the tangy barbecue, a little bit of spice.
Let's
to
make
it.
it happen.
I think maybe that's the end game. They've made so many chips like spicy and stuff too. Now I'm looking at all these ones I've never even seen before. Somebody mentioned a spicy pineapple jalapeno one, and I'm interested.
913-586-7965. Someone says, "There's already so much stress in the world. Please stop asking Gold food questions."
You always don't like really popular things. You're anti Oreo and Dorito.
I don't just go
You're
with the flow.
un-American.
I don't just go with the flow.
Un-American.
I
Probably also doesn't like cheeseburgers or milkshakes.
That's not true. Like
or the
both of
national
those.
anthem, you know? He's against all of it.
Hey, be careful
You
with the
like
anthem thing.
fireworks.
You're the only one that wanted to get rid of all history earlier in the show. That wasn't me. That wasn't me. Cody doesn't want George Washington on the dollar bills anymore either, and he doesn't want Tom. And he wants Tom Brady's on the MVP award.
I did say I want him on the Super Bowl MVP. I said Pete Rozelle can kick rocks.
My whole thing, my whole thing with the food takes is, look, everybody has food that they like. That's the one thing where you shouldn't just why cave to what everybody else likes for food. If there's a certain food you like, you eat it. If you don't like it, don't eat it.
But if you
You're a
haven't
grown
tried
adult.
it yet, then you don't know.
I've had Doritos before. I don't like Doritos. That one's
But
and
which
I've had
ones have you
Oreos
had,
before.
though?
I don't like them. Why would I eat Oreos if I know I don't like them? That's all I'm
But
saying.
can you admit the taste change? What I want to
taste
know
change?
is, what is the last time you had an Oreo? Because if you're going to say
when
I was 9.
I was probably 15 years old.
It's too long.
That's
you think
20
they
years
taste-
later.
Dude,
You think they taste different?
I think people's personal taste palette changes in that amount of time. And that you have not given an Oreo a chance in 20 years.
Give an Oreo a
it
chance.
deserves a chance. You know?
Fine, bring in an Oreo. Go bring in some Oreos. I'll try one tomorrow.
All I
bet
got
you-
is the mini Oreos that the kids eat.
All right, that's fine. Will that do
I don't know,
it?
it's probably the same.
Maybe I'll be surprised. I'm like, you know what? But also, then I don't want to now just start eating Oreos. That seems like a very unhealthy thing to start eating randomly again.
Well, you just never eat a cookie. It just opens up your world to possible cookies, There's a plate.
All right, up next. Go ahead, Drew. What were you about to say?
No, I was going to find the cookie drop from Cody.
Boy.
We can find that one later.
Up next, we're going to talk some Chiefs football with Danan Hughes. Maybe we'll ask him about Doritos as well. I know we'll definitely ask him about A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith and what the Chiefs are going to have to do in that matchup. That's coming up next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Super Bowl 59. One game, two teams, endless possibilities, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether you're predicting that first touchdown, who's going to take home the MVP trophy, or the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to place your bets and feel the thrill of every moment. With live betting all game long, you can jump into the action, adjust your bets, ride the wave of excitement from kickoff to the final whistle. Plus, to make the Super Bowl even sweeter, new customers can score $200 when you make your first bet. Just place a $5 bet, and if you win, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com/Alex and bet with FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 59 and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Attention car shoppers, Kevin Harlan here with Rob Side of Rob Side Ford in South Kansas City. Hey Rob, what's going on?
We are making 2025 the best year in Rob Side Ford history, and we are doing it with 4 simple steps.
Simple is what I love most about Rob Side Ford. So Rob, what's the plan?
It starts with Rob Side Ford's non-commissioned sales staff, Kansas City's lowest prices on brand new Fords, the best trade-in values, the biggest selection we've ever had. With those 4 steps, it is my personal mission to make Rob Site Ford the easiest, most value-driven Ford dealership in Kansas City. No BS.
That's why Rob Site Ford is the only dealership I'll send my friends and family to. But you're forgetting one thing.
What's that?
Rob Site Ford is Kansas City's top-rated Google Ford dealership.
Good call. Can't forget about that. Check out Rob Site Ford in South Kansas City at 135th and State Line, ROBSIGHT.com.
This Saturday only at Old Navy. Get 50% off jeans for the family. Yep, new denim fits at incredible prices for one day only with 50% off jeans for the fam. Hurry in this Saturday to Old Navy. Valid 2-1. Select styles only.
It's really been amazing. The amount of people that I've had contact me, and the talk is generally centered around QC Kinetics, and whether it's a knee, whether it's a back, a hip, shoulder.
He's always happy to talk about how QC Kinetics all-natural regenerative treatments finally gave him relief without surgery. That's former pro football player Bobby Carpenter.
My message to them is do not wait and push off a week, a month, whatever it is. So if you want to feel better this summer, now would be the time to get in. If you want to feel better in the fall, make sure that you're getting in here so you can go out and play golf and do the things that you love and enjoy.
Spoken by a man who experienced relief firsthand. QC Kinetics gave this former pro athlete back his mobility, his activity, and they'll do the same for you.
Has really helped me in just my general quality of life.
Don't wait. Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation today. QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Hey, Chiefs Kingdom, as the official whiskey sponsor of the NFL, it's not a kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why we've built the Crown Royal Rig, an absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit CrownRoyal.com for rules and more. Please drink responsibly.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Big game coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by Community America Credit Union. Member owned, open to all, invested in you. Join today at communityamerica.com. You're listening to the home of the back-to-back-to-back AFC champion, Kansas City Chiefs. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM HD1 and HD2. Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
1 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Here in about 15 minutes, we'll get to what I think it's fair to say, a bombshell report out of Baltimore right now involving one of their football players that is now starting to gain traction. We'll get to that. We'll fill you in on what is being alleged, some very serious allegations involving a Baltimore Raven. That's coming up in just a bit. But let's talk some Chiefs football here, of course, with former Chiefs wide receiver Danan Hughes. He joins us each and every Thursday. He will be in New Orleans on the broadcast for another Super Bowl. Mitch Holthus, Dan Israel, Josh Klingler as well. And Danan joins us thanks to Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas City. I said it there, Danan. Another Super Bowl man you're on the call of. This time it's for a 3P. What's going on?
What's going on, fellas? Before we get into football, I got to tackle a couple of things. I've been listening to your show.
Ooh, okay.
I am anti-O's as well.
Oh,
Doritos.
Okay, no Doritos, huh?
Anything O's. I have never tasted them. Don't have a desire to taste any of them. This is not surprising to you guys. You guys know I'm very, very picky. But yeah, I've never had a Dorito, Cheeto, Frito,
Cheerio?
whatever. So I had a Cheerio years ago. I need more sugar now.
Sure.
Oreos, I'm gonna give you something. Some people think it's disgusting, but I think it's a true delicacy. Oreos and cold applesauce is the greatest delicacy out there.
So you dip
Oreos and cold applesauce?
Are you dipping the Oreo in the apple, or are you putting the applesauce on top of the Oreo?
No, you take the Oreo and you scoop some of the applesauce and you eat the Oreo.
Huh.
That's been my go-to delicacy for about 25 years now.
Are you the only person who eats it? I've never heard anyone else
Well,
mention that combination, I guess is what I'm asking.
Well, I mean, I'm a unique individual anyway, guys. You guys know that. I mean, but I have tried to brainwash my kids into it. I think a couple of them, they appease me by doing it. It really hasn't latched on in my family like I think it should. It's forced me to change my will. And,
Wow.
Because if they're not going to be team players, then they don't deserve anything.
Since we're talking about other things in the
yeah,
show,
that-
should they be changing the names of trophies? You know, should it be the Pete Rozelle Super Bowl MVP, or should we just name it after Brady?
I don't have a problem with it. I think in this day and age, when you talk about generations, I think it'd be cool for someone or a generation of kids to actually have seen the person play who a trophy is named after, and then to change it down the road. Same thing with the NBA logo and different things like that. So I'm not that old school to think that everything should stay the same as it was. And I also think very cool to hear you guys play the clip of Patrick Mahomes and he talking about Coach Snyder. Coach Snyder was my offensive coordinator in college at Iowa. And I've loved him. He was definitely a mentor, and I learned more in 1 year under him than I learned the rest of my football career. So definitely a gem of a person. So it's always cool to hear opposing quarterbacks and opponents talk highly about him.
That is amazing, and I agree. He's a gem of a person. I'm only laughing, not at what you said. I'm totally with you, but because Cody got blocked by Bill Snyder, which I said says a lot about Cody.
I didn't do anything.
On social media. He got blocked by...
I didn't do anything. It was an accident, I swear.
Unfortunate, man. That takes a lot, I think.
That's what I'm saying.
I know.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's get to not the full game, Danan. We'll obviously have a chance to break down every part of the game in the preview and next week when we talk to you as well. But the initial thought for me is I was still more worried about the Bills game than in the Eagles game. I understand that this is a Super Bowl, more pressure. We'll feel more pressure as a fan base. But I thought the Bills were the better of the two teams. Not that I don't think the Eagles have some greatness about their team, including Saquon. But I feel like this is kind of like a better matchup in the base levels for the Chiefs.
Yeah, I am going to say that the Bills, I don't think that they were the better football team, because I think if you can impose your will to the extent of the rushing attack that the Eagles have, that is demoralizing. And then when you consider the running ability of Jalen Hurts, play action, that if you don't stop the run, I feel like if we didn't stop the run, specifically the run of the running back with the Bills, you just always knew that the ball was still going to be in Josh Allen's hands. So you just needed to focus on that one phase of the game. In this case, they'll run Saquon all game long, and then when you load the box to try to stop them, they'll go play action, and then they'll take a chance down the field to A.J. Brown or Devontae. So I feel like they are set up where the home run ability of Saquon and the big play ability of those two wide receivers, if you don't stop the run, could make it a long day for the Chiefs.
Jalen Hurts a couple years ago when he was going into the Super Bowl against Kansas City, and he played great in the Super Bowl too. He was having a better season, certainly through the air, than he was this go-around. Now, against the Commanders, he looked terrific. The Chiefs are much better defensively than Washington. Where are you at right now, I guess, on Jalen Hurts? Because I think the body of work this year has not been as impressive as it was and maybe as dangerous as it was a couple years ago.
Yeah, I think the difference between each team is his psyche in, do I really have to make the throws that's necessary? Do I really need to squeeze the ball in to these places when I have Barkley behind me? And I think every year you can look at Patrick Mahomes and talk about some of the ups and downs and the highs and lows, and years that he played extremely well and years where he didn't play up to standard, the high standard that everybody's set for him, and whether they can consciously state it or not. I think there's a dynamic that where you realize, you know what, I don't really have to make this throw. I don't really have to thread the needle to this extent. I got this run game. I got this defense. And I'm just going to make way with it. Think about the Texans game in the divisional round. I think that there were definitely some plays that could have been made more, maybe some calls that could have been made. But I feel like the Chiefs were very comfortable in knowing that the Texans weren't going to beat us. They weren't going to be able to drive the field consistently and beat us, and that became true. So I don't want to necessarily look at the stats and say Jalen Hurts is having a down year, because I feel like, and he's even said it during the year when you had the whole A.J. Brown controversy and reading the book on the sideline, and even prior to that, and then the game that he threw the ball all over the lot, he came to the press conference and said, is that what y'all wanted to see, basically? And that told me a lot about the fact that as a competitor, as a former player, recognizing what he's trying to say is, I can tap into any vault I need to get a win. Just because it's not necessarily the way you want to see it as a fan or a media doesn't mean that I don't have it in my tank. I don't have it in my arsenal. And that can make him a very dangerous player.
You ever read a book on the sideline?
No.
I'm anti that, Danan. Am I a curmudgeon? I don't want my players reading on the sideline. Unless it's the
no, I don't.
game
I
plan.
mean, I understand the whole mental health and the importance of mental health and guys having different triggers and different things to calm them down. I think there's obviously been, an added kind of mindset about that, or target about that. I get that. I just know that that wouldn't have worked for me. I don't think I would have been able to. I probably would have snatched it out of somebody's hand, one of my teammates, and threw it in the stands or something. Because that's the furthest thing from my mind to think of a player that's going to sit and read a book, not the playbook, not the iPad, but an actual regular book while we're running around and giving out bodies up and blood, sweat, and tears and all that stuff.
Danan, in the early matchup department, the Philadelphia pass defense has been one of the better ones in the yards per game category. I'm starting to think the way the Chiefs have gotten healthy at wide receiver makes them very difficult to guard from a receiver end. How tough is it to guess right now how to get the ball or who to get the ball to? Obviously, Worthy is their number one receiving option, but if you spend all your time focusing on him, you're still left with Travis Kelce and Hollywood Brown and Hopkins, or in the last game, Juju Smith-Schuster for that case.
Well, the thing is that we can make noise about the Eagles' pass defense, but it's really about their rushers up front. Nolan Smith Jr., Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Josh Sweat. I mean, these guys bring the funk every single time. 3 of them are from Georgia. Like they know each other. They played with each other. They're still young, but they got some fire to them. They got an attitude with them. So I think sometimes we give too much credit to the back end. Not saying that that's the case because they got former Hawkeye Cooper DeJean. So
he's had a really good year.
Yeah, he's had a really good year, and I think he's quieted some naysayers about his abilities and transitioning those into the NFL. But I do give them credit for how they've imposed their will on defense and how well they've done it in the passing attack. But I think it's really about the noise up front. If you quiet down the pass rush, then you might be able to expose those DBs, especially in the slots and with our speed and shifts. We'll make them declare what kind of defense they'll be in. And just like we see with Patrick Mahomes, he knows how to carve them up.
I think when you look at it, it's just like I view it as they're deeper than they've ever been. Gold and I both made a point of maybe it wasn't sold enough how much that getting to 15 wins, considering how many games, 50 games maybe between Watson and Hunt and Rice and Worthy and Butker and everyone else in between. Hugh, they might have missed 50, 60 games out of that group, Danan, and still got to 15 wins. And now they're as healthy as they have been.
Yeah. I mean, it just goes to prove the point that I made earlier this year. Like, everybody looks at this team in September, and we had a close win, literally inches from losing to the Ravens, and then the controversial win against the Bengals, and all these close wins that stack up behind them. And they start doubting the viability and strength of this team. And you guys have heard me say it. There's an art, a true art to winning close games and learning how to win versus learning how not to win and how to lose games. And there's been coaches that are out on the chopping block or already been chopped that could not win close games, made bad decisions, didn't necessarily have the confidence in their defense or offense to roll the dice when necessary to take a win from somebody. Like, we took a win from the Bills last week. We took an opportunity from them to tie the game or to go ahead before the clock struck 0. Most teams, they get a little skittish. They get a little questionable in when they can pull the trigger to snatch a win. And that's been to our benefit. We can't control that. Like, we can only be what we can be, but I can tell you that it's truly an art to see that in all 3 phases of the game, offense, defense, special teams, to see everybody in sync. It's not like we've been in a situation where let's hurry up and get the offense the ball. Let's hurry up and let's see what the defense can do. We got to get them to kick so we can get the special teams out there. No, it's been any given day, any given game. It could be any one of those phases, and they all have come through at different times. That's what makes this team special, and that's what I expect, especially with how healthy everybody is. That's what I expect in New Orleans. Like, I feel like that's what we're going to bring to the table. The identities are going to shine in that game, and we're going to be the tougher team. And we're going to be the team that if the game is close, we're going to figure out a way to win.
You were in Phoenix, obviously, when they played a couple of years ago, and it was very clearly a pro-Philly crowd. That hasn't always been the case in terms of the Chiefs fans being outnumbered in these Super Bowls. What do you think, just your guess, New Orleans, what that'll be like for Chiefs fans versus Eagles fans?
I think we're going to show up. I feel like the Chiefs fan base, the Chiefs kingdom, recognizes not only greatness but history. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the people that I've talked to, I've already gotten emails and text messages about rallies and parties and parades and all that stuff. And even last week, going up to Voodoo Lounge and having a rally up there before the Bills game, Like, I feel like the fan base recognizes, we always recognize the greatness. I think they're recognizing history, and the people that I've talked to want to be a part of that. They want to be able to tell their kids and grandkids that they were there when we got a three-peat done, when we made history. So, and with it being, I'd say it's probably more drivable from here to New Orleans than Philly. So I feel like we'll probably have a strong contingent of fans that will drive down there as well. So let's see how it goes. I'm excited. I'm amped up.
We'll check in next week, Dane, and safe travels down to Louisiana, man. And we'll talk to you more specifically about this Chiefs-Eagles matchup then.
Yeah, I still didn't feel the love about the Oreos and applesauce, but I'll give you guys.
I will try it. I'm not saying no. I've just never had it.
I love the fact that you said, though, that you don't like Doritos either. So thank you for having my back. I appreciate it.
No problem. Players only tonight.
All right. Here we go. 6
well.
o'clock. Perfect. Danan Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver. He will be in New Orleans with the Chiefs Radio Network. He's presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue. And yes, tonight, right here on 96.5 The Fan. Players only, 6 p.m. You're listening to that tonight as well. Applesauce and Oreos. Okay.
Never heard that.
I'm going to have to tell my wife because she loves herself some Oreos. So I might
go.
have to, and I like applesauce. So I don't know. I'll have to try that.
We'll get to what's trending in 12 minutes. I do want to get to a story that is now making the rounds and could end up just gaining more traction. I want to be very clear that these are allegations at this point in time, but it has so many similarities to a story that we've discussed over the last couple of years regarding Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson. This story comes from the Baltimore Banner. This is a legit news outlet. This isn't a random Twitter account or anything. There's 3 different writers and reporters that investigated this. I'll just read you the headline and a few bits of information from this. Headline reads, Ravens Justin Tucker accused of inappropriate sexual behavior by 6 massage therapists. Ravens kicker Justin Tucker allegedly engaged in inappropriate behavior at 4 high-end spas and wellness centers in the Baltimore region, according to 6 massage therapists, including exposing his genitals, brushing 2 of them with his exposed penis, and leaving what they believe to be, I'll just say, bodily fluids on the massage table after 3 of his treatments. Goes on to say several therapists said Tucker's behavior was so egregious that they ended his sessions early or refused to work on him again, and at 2 spas, management said they banned him from returning. It obviously has some more details. Now, his attorneys for Tucker denied the allegations of inappropriate behavior, calling them speculative and impossible to prove. The attorneys said that Tucker had never been banned from the 2 spas in question. They also denied Tucker ever left bodily fluids at a spa. So there's more detail. You can read the whole article. Sounds so similar to what we...
Okay. I'll say the same thing I said about Deshaun Watson when these rumors came up. I do not think 6 women all got together to form a joint lie about Justin Tucker. He's a creep, just like Deshaun Watson was a creep.
It sure seems
like that. For whatever reason, it appears he decided to sexually assault women at their place of business, similar to that as Deshaun Watson did. Yeah, there are allegations right now. Deshaun Watson probably still claims they're allegations, even though he settled a number of lawsuits.
Yeah, I'm just saying allegations, but literally the article just came out. So sorry for not being so defensive. Like, you're already like saying it's over. I doesn't look good. I'm just 5 minutes after the story, I hesitate on radio to go ahead and go ahead and say it's 100% confirmed. That's all. Pardon me for being a little cautious.
The reporting seems pretty strong on this. I think, again, back to the number of people and everything in there. By all accounts, this is going to ruin his entire reputation and career. So, like, for all the, Deshaun Watson was going to be a Hall of Famer as a kicker, well, that's gone. If this is the kind of stuff you get involved in.
Might explain the issues he's had this year on the field.
It said it.
If this was on, if he knew this was, a story like this doesn't just happen overnight. Like, his attorneys have been contacted for a while, usually with this kind of stuff. And so the issues with focus on kicks this year and like what the heck's going on with him, this makes a little bit more sense. If he knew that he was about to get potentially busted for this kind of stuff, then yeah. So
the Browns can't wait to trade for him. Just complete the trade.
Jeez.
What? They made that decision knowing full well what the allegations were before. They deserve all the heat in the world for the decision and the really, truly awful trade they made for Deshaun Watson at the time. Again, I understand that they're allegations because these news reporting are very early. But the similarities between the two stories, it's like They asked, like he would put him in a compromising position. He would ask him to massage his groin area. Then he would
all similar.
Try to get forcible contact, and it all sounds.
This is from a 4-year period, correct?
So the timeline mentioned in this story from the Baltimore Banner, and they're reporting on Justin Tucker, is that these allegations occurred between 2012 and 2016. That's the timeline that they have on their reporting.
Sounds like he stopped once. Like the timing is a challenge because sure seems like maybe if he was guilty of this behavior, you would certainly hope that the Deshaun Watson thing would, if nothing had stopped you before, you would hope that would stop you then. The lawyer comments, it's impossible to prove. That's a weird thing to say.
Well, they're his attorneys. I mean, what do you expect them to say?
I don't know. The phrasing on that seems like, I would just say untrue. Impossible to prove feels like you'll never catch me. I don't I'm just saying, I didn't like. I think
what'll be telling in the days ahead will be, if you remember what happened with the Deshaun Watson circumstances, that as this became public and people felt more open to to talk about their experience, that more, and we found out it wasn't just 5, it was 30. 40. So that'll be, I think that'll be, look, 6 is too many, but my point is, will we see more, Cody, in the next couple of days and weeks ahead? Like someone said, oh yeah, that also happened in my experience with him. And does all of a sudden more and more people feel more open to tell their story? So
it's a wild swing where we
serious allegations, obviously. And the detail on it is very similar, as you said, to the Deshaun Watson stuff.
Well, like you guys said, he went from, obviously this happened over a year ago, but the story on Justin Tucker was a year ago, he's the greatest kicker ever to walk the face of the earth, to now, after the seasons that he's had, and of course this is obviously something as well. Your whole reputation is just completely damaged.
I mean, but if, I don't care if your reputation's damaged if you did all these things.
Correct.
And again, the reporting is solid enough.
It's not like some groundbreaking. I don't think anybody's disagreeing with you. No kidding. If it's true, then obviously everybody's opinion changes. No doubt.
I just don't have a hard time believing it's true.
I'm not saying it's false either. I just have, it sounds like you're more willing 5 minutes after the story to just say it's fact. And I'm saying, like with the Deshaun Watson thing, I want to wait more than literally 8 minutes after the story was published to just say it's all definitive. It doesn't look good. If you made me bet, is it true or not, I would also say it's probably true. I just have an issue with saying something is factual 5 seconds after the story came out.
I think a lot of times for me, it just depends on what you believe out of the reporting and the people doing the reporting, and that's fair. It's not like I have a background on who the reporters out of Baltimore are. But yeah, it looks horrifying. It looks like another person accused of severe sexual assault in the NFL, repeated over time behavior. And the same thing I said about Deshaun Watson that I'd say about Justin Tucker. If this is what you're into, find someone who will do it with you in a committed relationship and agreed upon behavior. Yeah. Stop sexual assaulting women because you get some sort of power out of it. And instead, think about what is causing this behavior. And I didn't think there was going to be a Justin Tucker report today out of Baltimore accusing him what appears to be very, very shockingly similar behavior to that of Deshaun Watson. And what's going to stand out about this to me is if the accusations stop right after the Deshaun Watson stuff came out, maybe I shouldn't have been doing that this whole time. And you're like, what tipped you off, was the whole part of this. And it's gross. It's really disgusting. And it's shocking, obviously, that this would be the case. A lot of controversy because the Rozier thing and all, those are unrelated, but this feels like today. Every league's got its own thing today. He's being investigated by the feds for an illegal gambling ring.
2023, yes.
But the NBA said he didn't do anything wrong according to their bylaws.
That's a completely different story. Yeah.
It's just a messy day in sports.
Do you guys remember how shortly after everything happened that Deshaun Watson was then traded? Do we know how in terms of stiff penalty of Houston's not letting him in the building and all those other things? Is that how long it took?
It was a year.
I can't remember.
He sat on the sidelines for about an entire NFL calendar year and then got traded to the
11 game suspension in 2022, but it was the whole offseason before that some of this stuff came to light. And this is just the beginning of all this, of course, now for the Justin Tucker situation. Serious allegations. You guys can read the whole story. That's the Baltimore Banner. Baltimore Banner. It's a well-established publication in Baltimore. 3 different reporters are involved in this. You guys can read all the comments and the accusations that are in there. Certainly, this story is not going to just go away. So this will be something I'm sure tomorrow there might be new information on in the days and weeks ahead. And it happens to come out a couple days before Super Bowl Radio Row, which is the center of like sports media for that week. So this is something that, you know, it's not, the Ravens aren't in the Super Bowl, but there will certainly be plenty of discussion about this. All right, guys, up next, we'll get to what's trending. Then a little bit earlier today, Josh Vernier joined us. We'll talk a little bit about the Royals. He's got his Royals rally out at Kauffman Stadium, and we asked Vern about the latest signing that the Royals made. What does that mean? Is there another move potentially on the horizon? That's next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Missouri sports fans, I've got good news. Underdog is available to play in your state. Over 5 million happy players, over $2 billion won. Underdog makes it fun and easy to cash in on all your favorite athletes' performances. Look, maybe you like Kareem Hunt to go higher than his rushing projection, or Xavier Worthy to go higher than 65.5 rushing and receiving yards. Those are some of the things I've got in lineup-wise over at Underdog. It doesn't matter. You just got to choose your favorite game over at Champs. Decide whether you think those numbers are going to go higher or lower than a particular stat. Touchdowns, interceptions, yardage. That's what their Champs game. You can win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on those things. It's also the only Champs platform that puts the power to cash out in your hands. Now you can either keep it riding, hit win now button, and cash out whenever you want. And with their double flex option, you can take 2 L's and turn them into a W. So many different choices. Easiest app to download, super easy to use, and you can use it from the couch on the Missouri side. Underdog is the best place to play. Sign up and deposit now with promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. And if you're in Missouri, you'll get an additional $50 in bonus cash when you play your first $5 entry. That's promo code TAPP. Must be 18 plus and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operate. Terms apply. $10 deposit minimum. See UnderdogFantasy.com for terms and conditions. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
When this football run began a couple years back, we were up in St. Joe for training camp. And what were we driving? Well, we were driving a brand new red truck, thanks to my friends over at Max Motors. And if you're still driving that same vehicle now that they're looking for a three-peat, perhaps it's time for you to drive a new vehicle as well. And I'll tell you what, Max Motors has the best financing options available with the max trade-in values in the Midwest. And right now, if you're looking for a new truck, new 2024 Ram 2500s are up to $16,000 off MSRP. Stock number C240005. Or new 2024 Jeep Compass 4x4 starting at $24,995. Stock number 80238. And as always, Max Motors are going to take the time to sit you down and explain the total cost of ownership, not just what your monthly payment will be. That's the kind of attention and care that they're going to give you when you walk into a Max Motors dealer. See dealer for details. And don't forget, Max Motors is your Midwest dealer. Max Motors, the easiest place to buy a car. MaxMotors.com.
Real stories with Hellsberg.
After we met and we started dating, Nancy and I lived 150 miles apart, and I would drive my old jalopy car, and it was roughly a 3-hour distance. It took 3 years I drove across that state back and forth dating her every weekend.
Persistence.
And I would have never stopped. I had a lot of energy back then. 36 years ago.
At Hellsberg, find the engagement ring worthy of your story. Designed with the love, care, and craft it deserves. Visit a Hellsberg store or Hellsberg.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? I think my battery's dead. With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
So what if I need a new one? We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
And what about my old battery? We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
If you love designer brands and you love clearance, then you're going to love this. Macy's is having a huge designer clearance event right now with incredible new designer markdowns on cold weather styles from BCBG, Hugo Boss, Michael Kors, and more. How big are the markdowns? How about Coach boots for $200 or less? So if you're looking for the things you love all in one place, come in and shop the designer clearance event at Macy's today. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
I'm at the movies, asking people if they'll switch seats with me for $574.
Here, take mine.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
Too much work.
Not if you call them. They handle the switching.
Now, that's a plot twist.
Shh. Check Allstate first, and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
It's better over here. If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has an exclusive rate plan just for you. Right now, get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings versus Verizon and AT&T. Plus, you can get one of the latest 5G phones free when you add a line. That's right, a free 5G phone. Experience all this and more on America's largest 5G network. So why wait? At T-Mobile, customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Just go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 or visit your local store to make the switch.
With AutoPay using debit or bank account plus taxes and fees, 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Free phones up to $300 off with 24 monthly bill credits and qualifying new line for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Contact us before canceling entire account to continue remaining bill credits, and if you pay off device early. See details at T-Mobile.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? I think my battery's dead. With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
So what if I need a new one? We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
And what about my old battery? We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Welcome to TGL, presented by SoFi, golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN+. It's 2 hours of hammer dropping, overtime forcing, playoffs on the line golf, Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour, split into 6 teams. Learn more at TGLGolf.com. Tune in every week for TGL matches. Keep up, it's golf.
It's football season, and now you can get anything you need for game day delivered with Uber Eats. Well, almost anything. You can't get a running back, but baby back ribs? Yes. Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. We heard from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes earlier today. Andy confirmed, Cody, that no new injuries. Everybody's expected to practice today, so they once again are very, very healthy going in. We did also just learn some more insight on a few different stories from Mahomes, and Mahomes discussed how basically when it comes to this three-peat stuff, Andy Reid, unless he's asked about it by media, that does just not come up. It does not, and that I think it's probably good for your head coach not to look at Nick.
That's not how Andy works.
I feel like Nick Sirianni would be wearing T-shirts saying three-peat already and stuff. Versus
everybody handles it a little bit different. He wants it to just be another game. They'll be happy to talk three-peat as much as you want. They talked about it the second they got on stage, but when real games started, obviously they decided to move on from that, which I can't blame them. It is good to know that even in a hypothetical injury report standpoint, everybody would have played for the Chiefs. Next up on What's Trending, the Eagles have officially opened the practice window for defensive lineman Brandon Graham. He's been out since November with a triceps injury, has not played since then. He announced before the season this would be his last season in the NFL. I don't know if he's followed up on that. That's what he'd said before the year started. He's trying to get back for the Super Bowl. I think there's a pretty good chance, if they've opened his practice window, that he could be available the next week and a half.
I'm with
but
you.
How strong will he be?
I'm with you on that. Yeah, what's the snap count look like and stuff like that? What's his role? He's
strength,
it
energy,
seems like he's going to play, though.
Yeah.
Next on What's Trending, college basketball. Last night in Manhattan, the Kansas State, or in Stillwater, Kansas State got an 85-57 win. They just took care of business from the get-go. K-State improves to 9-11 on the season. Oklahoma State falls to 10-10. I think K-State now
2-game winning streak.
Yes,
3 out of 4. I think
a couple-game winning streak. And next up for the Kansas State Wildcats is Iowa State on Saturday in Ames.
That's
is that in Ames or is that in Manhattan? I'm trying to see.
You could really turn that thing around if you start.
I think that's.
I don't care where you play it.
I think that's in Ames. This past Oh, K-State was at home last night, but I think they're in Ames this weekend.
Iowa State looks like a Final Four team right now. We'll see. Obviously, the Big 12 is still kind of open in that regard. Next up on What's Trending, the Raiders have announced they're going to retain Patrick Graham as their defensive coordinator. Obviously, Pete Carroll, the new head coach over there, not looking to change things up from a defensive side. He must have had a lot of players who liked playing for him. That's usually a pretty good sign for that. Hey, I don't need to tear this whole staff down. People really liked Patrick Graham. Let's stick with him, keep some continuity in the building, and kind of go from there. I actually don't hate that move by Pete Carroll.
That is what's trending here on Cody and Gold. Earlier today, we chatted with our Royals insider, Josh Vernier. Royals Rally is coming up Saturday at Kauffman Stadium from 9 to noon. Vern will be broadcasting live. We'll have some great guests joining him. Plus, we wanted to get Vern's perspective on one of the big additions the Royals just made in the last 24 hours, adding to their bullpen. And Vern told us a little bit about what he's got planned this weekend.
Yeah. Should be a good time. Always a good time. And honestly, you go back to last season, and, well, I'm sure you guys remember the manager, Matt Quatrero, telling Fesco and Dusty about how it was starting to become clear dating back to Royals Rally last season, just how close that team was, how guys like Adam Frazier and Michael Wacha and Hunter Renfroe ingratiated themselves with the group, beginning with this weekend in Kansas City, doing it with the fans. So without some of those voices, the Frazier, the Hampson, without a Brady Singer and a Will Smith, it'll be interesting to see how this team comes together starting on Saturday.
When you look at what the Royals have already done this offseason, I think we got 2 weeks before spring training. I start giving up that anything else is going to happen. I know baseball's changed a lot, Vern, and when these deals get done. Are the Royals, before we talk about Estevez and what he adds to there, are the Royals done making moves now, or are we still thinking there's something kind of in the works somewhere over the next couple of weeks?
I mean, you could go back to last spring when they made the acquisition of John Schreiber. You know, what you allude to with how much the game has changed, to me, is just a reflection of, you know, it used to be the small market teams that had to win on the margins. Now everyone is, even if you're the Mets, the Yankees, the Dodgers, you too are utilizing analytics and staying true to the numbers, but you also have a boatload of money that you can throw at players when you deem them worthy of that money. You look at a lot of the contracts the Dodgers have doled out. They're fair market deals. So with all that being said, yeah, I do think there's more to come. Do I think it's going to be another $25 million, like deal like we see with Estevez? No, not necessarily. But I, as a Royals fan, certainly don't want to rule it out, because I think one of the biggest questions going into the season, and I'll admit it's wild to think, but how long does John Sherman, how long does ownership want to see what a wild card team looks like? Because they got to see it last year. Because John Sherman spent a lot of money last offseason, and it looks like he's going to spend a little bit more going into this season, maybe a lot more going into this season compared to last year. But he's a competitor, right? That front office, that ownership group is made up of competitive businessmen and businesswomen. When do they say, okay, yeah, it's nice, because right now they're in it. Right now, when you look at the division, you can make a case that they've had the best offseason of any team in the division. And that's purposely said because no one in the division really outside of Detroit has done much of anything. So are they done? I sure hope not, because they have a chance to put the division in their rearview mirror with another bat, maybe another arm. And it doesn't even need to be a big name. Again, I referenced John Schreiber. Go find, and they must, if you're going to win consistently in this market, go find those diamonds in the rough. Go find those guys that are overlooked in other organizations.
It's hard to, I think, for some fans to look at the what appears to be the outfield and think that they're done. I think that's where a lot of fans are at. They see, like, maybe it has to be via trade, and now they've got another bullpen arm in Estevez, and they're willing maybe to move another bullpen arm or move somebody else that another team views as a starting pitcher to go get that outfield. Because I think if they were to add another outfielder, a lot of fans, I think, would feel like, okay, they've got a complete team, and they can do what you're saying, which is not be talking just about the division, but be talking even bigger than that.
Sure. And a trade financially might be the easiest route. Although, again, go spend. Go throw your money around a little bit wisely, not haphazardly, but go spend your money properly, because there are names out there that I think would appease the fan base, pacify the fan base. I don't know, Kike Hernandez, Mark Canna's still out there, Randall Grichuk, a third baseman option, and I think Justin Turner and Yoan Moncada. There are names out there that would take a one-year deal, and I don't think it would be a bad fit with this team. But as far as a trade, sure. If they're going to move one of these additional right-handed relievers, the Carlos Hernandez, I can't imagine Chris Stratton's going to bring you much, but a Hunter Harvey, something like that, you want to make a package deal. I don't think you're going to get a middle-of-the-lineup type of bat for that. But what you could get is, or what you must get is, the John Schreiber of a corner outfielder, right? Again, the flex that we've seen from, it may pale in comparison to Brett Veach, but what J.J. Piccolo's done over the past 2 seasons is impressive. But as we talk about throughout the summer, he can't stop. He's got to continue to hit at a 70-75% clip. It's just wild that Veach across the parking lot's hitting at like a 80% clip in a salary capped league.
When you look at and we can talk about the salary cap later, maybe as that's related to the entire baseball offseason, but when you look at, do you think either guy will care about I'm the closer? Ursack wasn't doing that before he got traded to Kansas City. Estevez did it obviously last year. Or is this just, hey, we're pitching you all in leverage. Nobody cares that save is next to your name?
Well, that'll be the job, of course, of the coaching staff to get everyone to buy in. But we are seeing Major League Baseball and these general managers pay seventh-inning guys, eighth-inning guys, firemen, along with the arms that accumulate the saves, right? They're not as beholden to that statistic as they had been in decades previous. So you would like to think that the clubhouse that these guys are all going to be sharing with a Bobby, Vinny, Salvi, Waka, Lugo, a lot of veterans, a lot of guys that stay focused on winning. You would like to think that there would be a buy-in this spring, and that Hughes going to handle his bullpen much like he handles the rest of his roster. I'm going to utilize everyone, and depending on leverage, I'm going to ride my biggest arms. If Urseg's hot, he's going to be the whether it's the closer or the fireman, he's going to be the guy that comes into those high leverage situations. But shoot, you can throw a Hunter Harvey in there. You can throw a Sam Long in there. I don't think we're going to see, again, HDH, where it's you're in the 7th, you're in the 8th, you're in the 9th. I think it's going to be, as you guys know, a lot more modern thinking than that.
We're talking to Josh Vernier, our Royals insider. Royals rally at Kauffman Stadium this Saturday, 9 to 12. Vern will be live here on 96.5 The Fan. He's expected to have Bobby Witt Jr. join him around 9:45. Also, Jonathan India, J.J. Piccolo, Cole Reagans, and Matt Quatrero. Who's the player as you get set to go to spring training here before we know it? Other than, I would say, the obvious, Bobby Witt Jr. is somebody that everybody wants to watch because he's just an incredible athlete. Who's the player maybe you're most interested in seeing when you go out there?
Yeah, besides Bobby, because he's always the draw of any field that he's on. For as much as you want to say Salvi because of his greatness, or Vinny because, he has some greatness in him as well, I'm pretty confident that those three are going to be the big three once again in 2025. Who's going to support him? Jonathan India must, but outside of India, who are the guys that are going to support those three bats? Because if we're being honest, no one really came to their aid for an extended period of time last season. Renfroe had his stretches. MJ had his moments. Freddie Fermin had his moments. So MJ Melendez, Michael Garcia, Hunter Renfroe, those are the guys that I'm excited to see on opening day. I hope they stay healthy throughout spring training, but we're now at the point, I would like to think, with this Royals team where spring training's nice, everyone stay healthy. We're not battling for major spots on the roster. It's about getting it done when the season matters, right? It's about game one of 162. So, for as excited as I am to see Michael, MJ, and Renfro, you're not going to hear me going wild about what they're doing in spring training because we all know things change come, late March, early April when you're playing in Kansas City in that cold baseball weather.
That's just Caglione, right? That'll be the people everybody goes nuts for the first week that he's at spring training.
Yeah, and understandably so, because for as much as we've been pining for this organization to go bring in that extra bat to support those big three, that bat, to me, is Jack Caglione. Even if you bring in take your pick, whatever free, outside of Alex Bregman, take your pick of all the available free agents, and I don't think that the impact they could make equals what Jack Caglione could mean to this team, maybe as early as this season.
Feels like another Cody Gold road trip in our future, maybe down to either double or triple A, depending on what it is. Vern, we obviously mentioned the moves and the outfielders and all this stuff. Does it still feel like they got one too many infielders? Like Michael, Massey, India. Obviously, Bobby's playing short. We know that they rotate guys over at first. Is there a chance that they go into the season with all these guys and then they just find a way to buy Massey 90 games, 100 games between left or filling in a day at second or filling in a day at pinch hitter or filling in a day at third? Do you think that they go that path possibly and just be deeper there? And then, Kevin Biggio is a break case of emergency minor league signing we did just in case.
Well, I think they're going to need that left-handed utility bat off of the bench, and whether that's Biggio or Brandon Shoemaker, it doesn't inspire a ton of confidence, but that's the guy that's, we're not going to see very often outside of a few pinch running situations. Yeah, I could see them breaking camp with those five infielders. Obviously, Bobby, Vinny, and India, but, Massey and Michael, I can make a pretty compelling argument both ways as far as them being a part of the future or them just being nice complementary pieces for 2025. We all know the upside of Michael Massey, but we also know that back issue has lingered for years. Now, I'll be the first to admit, I didn't think he would play as much as he did last season after that thing flared up. And then he went on a run for the final 2 months of the season and played just about every single game. So he's already proven me wrong, and maybe he can do it again this upcoming season and give the team 120 some odd games of healthy Michael Massey, quality offense Michael Massey. And then Michael Garcia right now, his saving grace is that terrific glove, his outstanding instincts, and his great ability on the base paths. But offensively, he didn't do anything to lock down third base. Again, defensively and base, of course that stuff's important. But what stunk this team last season was its inability to support the big three in the lineup. So, Michael and Massey, to me, it would behoove them to have a good start to spring training, to show up looking good, feeling good, because of those the multitude of available free agents. There could be a one-year stopgap that all of a sudden takes that position and turns it into an offensive boon for the 1 through 9.
Are you entering this season in the best shape of your life? That's the question we all want to know.
Worst
shape. Damn, that's tough.
Worst of my life. I weighed myself the other night, and I just need to put the beers down until the Super Bowl. That's what I'm going to try to do.
There we go. All right, Vern, good to have you on the show. We'll be listening Saturday. Thanks, man.
All right, thank you.
So that was our Royals insider, Josh Vernier, a little bit earlier today. And yeah, Saturday, 9 to noon. If you want your Royals fix, Royals rally out of Kauffman Stadium, Vern's coverage. We'll be talking to all the big names within the Royals organization. And tomorrow on our show, we will have Gigi Piccolo as well. We'll be talking to him not only about the Royals and Carlos Estevez, the new signing, but the Eagles, because he's a Philly guy. Last time we had Radio Row coverage in Phoenix when the Chiefs were playing the Eagles, we had JJ join us on the show then as well.
We'll ask him about a corner outfielder, we promise.
I think we have to, because it's, all right, is this, not only is this it, but
trade?
The bullpen additions, they went out in this offseason, you look at all the moves, it's all been pitching. Jonathan India, of course, was a huge trade. But the free agent signings, I should say, have all been pitching. There you go. Free agent signings have all been pitching. The trade was a bat. The only way to acquire another bat, I still think, probably is trade again.
Probably, just based on where the payroll currently is. But I will say, because of the way baseball's been going and how late this has been pushed, there are a large number of available outfield bats. Look, I get it that it's not the 4 for 100 guy who's out there.
Santander or something.
It's not the big names, but there are a number of available bats out there as well. And I do think that that's kind of important. We were talking about the Justin Tucker thing. I'll let you know that he has put out a statement himself denying the allegations and saying that no misconduct had taken place. Would be to expected, obviously. In that case.
You can read the full state. It's pretty long.
But it's available on his Twitter account, JTuck9. It is rather long. I don't think you'd want us for radio purposes.
The NFL also, to Ian Rappaport, have just put out a statement as well. Quote, "We first became aware of the allegations from the reporter investigating this story as they were not previously shared with the NFL. We take any allegations seriously. We will look into the matter." If you're just joining us, you're wondering, what the heck are we even talking about? Baltimore Banner, BaltimoreBanner.com. It's a publication in the Baltimore area. They have an investigative story up on their website that has prompted the reaction and also these comments, which is that Justin Tucker is being accused of inappropriate sexual behavior by 6 massage therapists. You can read it in greater detail, BaltimoreBanner.com. And as we all remember with the Deshaun Watson stuff, this is something that's not going to just end tomorrow. This is going to
go away quick.
We're probably going to see more and more details and things like that come out over the next couple of weeks and frankly months ahead. From a football end of it as well, if you're the Ravens, you're in a very weird spot too, because we're talking about the offseason and the season just ended. I can remember when the Deshaun Watson stuff, I think, happened, the allegations in March at that time or something. I don't know if it happened in January,
I can't remember exact time.
Not right before the Super Bowl, I'll tell you that. And I know the Ravens aren't playing in the Super Bowl, but still, the fact this is going to be a huge bit of the conversation next week at the Super Bowl, too.
Yeah. All the NFL media will get together in one room, and this will be one of the biggest stories out there because it involves a known player. Now, it's a kicker, it's not a quarterback, and the things that kind of drive these type of things. But Justin Tucker is one of the most well-known kicker? I don't know.
Probably.
He's a very well-known player.
Vinatieri, if you just think about NFL history of the last, let's call it the last 20, 30 years, Vinatieri and Tucker are probably the most, if a kicker's ever a household name, it's probably those two.
Yeah, I'd say so. And now probably to this point, Butker.
Yeah.
Because of how many Super Bowls he's won recently.
So we'll probably end up getting into this again tomorrow, depending on where things stand with the NFL and also what some of the news out of Baltimore continues to be. That's going to do it for us today. Tomorrow on the show, it's a Red Friday. Can I call it a Red Friday, even though they don't play? Is that allowed?
I think when it's around the Super Bowl, every Friday's red until the games are over.
Briscoe's going to join us.
Are we sure?
JJ Piccolo's going to join us.
I'm saying that it has to count. I'm usually a stickler.
Fan club, we've got our friend Andrew from Rieger coming in to make some cocktails, and Kling. It's been a bit since we had Josh Klingler, who will be on the sideline once again for another Super Bowl. He will join us. For now, we're handing things off to C-Dot and Rob on the drive.